Salutations! Welcome to Pod Mortem. I'm Travis Hunter, joined as always by my co-host, my sister, and my brother-in-law.
Hi, I'm Reneé Hunter Vasquez.
Hi, I'm John Paul Vasquez.
This week, we're broadcasting live from the Tides restaurant in Bodega Bay, discussing the 1963 horror classic, The Birds. This film was directed by Alfred Hitchcock from a screenplay by Evan Hunter, loosely based on the novella of the same name by Daphne du Maurier. The Birds combines elements of dark comedy, romance, and horror, which are married seamlessly through Hitchcock's skilled direction. With a fantastic cast of characters, impressive special effects for the time, and a bevy of interpretations regarding its social commentary, The Birds has exceeded its initially mixed critical reception to become widely considered a cinematic classic. This film was the winner of our August Patreon poll, so thank you to all of our patrons who participated and voted. If you'd like to help us decide an episode, join us over on Patreon at patreon.com/thepodmortem. So, The Birds. What were your first impressions on the film?
I remember watching it with Mom when we were kids.
Absolutely.
Because she's a huge Hitchcock fan.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't remember the ending.
No.
I just remember. I think I was so young that I was just like, man, those birds are fucking going nuts. Like, that's all I remembered. And I didn't remember. I'm going to be completely honest. Rewatching this was basically like watching it for the first time. It's the first time as an adult for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The first probably half an hour of this film is some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. And I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but I was having a blast for probably the first half an hour. But I think it's good. I know that it's very revered.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even say it's my favorite Hitchcock.
No, I know as a kid I was more of a psycho.
100%.
Well, I mean, I wasn't.
Maybe we were for watching Psycho. Yeah, and I haven't seen everything he's ever made. We watched a lot of Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Oh, yeah.
But this isn't Psycho. I'll just say that. But I did enjoy it, and I understand why it's so highly regarded.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say I'm more of a Psycho girl.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the behind the scenes shit, it's hard to not think of that while you're watching it.
Yeah, there's a couple of instances that, I mean, we might touch on a little bit, but I know more of the situation between the two of them happened when they...
Marnie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be as much, but we will touch on it.
Yeah.
Because it's fairly fucked up. But, JP...
I'll be honest, this is the very first Alfred Hitchcock movie I've ever seen completely from beginning to end. The movie, to me, wasn't bad, but it was a bit slow. And I'm not one to wait. It was, like I said, it wasn't bad, but it was just a little too slow for my taste.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen bits and pieces of Psycho, but I've never watched the whole movie all the way through. I've seen the Hitchcock Presents, but I've never watched one all the way through.
Come on, man.
It's
just
just not my style. It's just not for me.
He just goes to sleep. We're going to have to fix the Psycho situation. We need to watch that ASAP.
We can watch it.
But I will co-sign with you there that I'm queen slow burn. I love me a slow burn. This movie, I think, could have been about half an hour shorter.
Oh, yeah.
Even having said that.
Yeah.
I will agree with both of you. I enjoy this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't point to exactly where I would cut.
But you can.
But some things need to be cut. There's some kind of pacing issue, but the thing is that the suspense of it is so perfectly paced.
It is.
You're like, what? Where would I even? Where do my scissors go? You know?
Yeah.
I can think of a couple, and
Yeah.
I'll let you know when they come up. But
Please.
to me,
Yeah, please
there
do.
was just a couple of times when I was like, that didn't need to be that long. But
I am in the same boat as Nay, which is watched it as a kid, enjoyed it. Definitely more of a fan of Psycho. There are quite a few Hitchcock films that I would like to see that I haven't.
Me too. I was thinking that while we were working on this, that I'm not. We watched a lot of Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Yes.
But as far as his films, I'm not as well versed as
I thought.
I should be, to be honest.
I think that this film stands out because of the sheer scale of it.
Mm-hmm.
And what they took on as far as effects go in 1963.
Yeah.
And it's honestly impressive for the time. If you look at it through the lens of the time, there are some shots that are still effective.
Oh, yeah.
And there are some shots that are not as effective. But we're looking at it, 50 years later?
Yeah.
So you got to kind of be kind.
I also, though, I know I texted you, T, because I was like, hold on. When I started watching it to take my notes and stuff, I was positive that this was going to be in black and white.
Me too. And I remember I thought it was in black and white when we saw it as kids, but it is not.
No, I was like, is this the fucking Mandela effect? I was like, what is happening?
I thought the same thing too.
Yeah.
I thought it was a black and white movie.
Yeah.
'Cause isn't Psycho black and white?
Yes.
Yeah, well, fuck, maybe not.
No, yeah.
Now, before we peck this film to pieces, we would like to issue a warning for spoilers. Pod Mortem is a very in-depth podcast, and in thoroughly discussing horror films, we have no choice but to spoil a thing or two. If you don't wish to be spoiled, please go watch the film, then come back and enjoy the show. If you've already seen the film or don't care about spoilers, then let's take flight. So the film begins with opening credits in sky blue against a white background, and we see and hear black silhouettes of birds flapping their wings and cawing from left to right to left across the screen. Mm-hmm. It's a lot.
It is.
I was genuinely unsettled by this. I'm not afraid of birds.
No, but the way they're presented, I think.
Maybe it's the sound too.
It's like you're supposed to be afraid of them. I read that at the premiere of this, when people left the theater, he had speakers set up in the trees outside to do the flapping sounds and the just customary bird noises just to scare people more.
What is he, William Castle? That's some gimmicky shit. That sounds
it really is.
like, I don't know. I like it. I think they should bring that stuff back.
Me too.
I would love that.
Yeah, but I don't know. That scared the shit out of me, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck?
Just run back inside.
No, you wouldn't
To
forget
watch it again?
Yeah.
I gotta watch this movie again. There's some birds outside.
They know you know about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You learned their whole story.
Yeah.
But after the birds are flapping about, we see Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds appear on screen, followed by the rest of the credits before we fade to black. I did want to point out that I saw that the sound consultant on the film was Bernard Herrmann, who famously not only did the score for Psycho, but also, countless other films, but Taxi Driver.
Well, yeah.
all right.
I know this is a horror podcast, but that's one of my favorite films, guys.
That's a good
it's
movie.
great. Yeah,
and I
it's
love
great.
that score. But it's just incessant noise, and that's one thing I did want to point out is that he is a composer. He was a consultant. The people that actually did the electronic sounds were Remy Gassman and Oscar Sala. Mm-hmm. And there's really no music
Right.
in this movie.
Which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
It's like just bird sounds.
Just your standard
Just
bird sound.
Standard
Yeah.
bird noises.
I did also want to point out, since we've seen Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds appear on screen, that is all, aside from the angry birds, that was taken from Daphne du Maurier's novel.
Yeah, I read that she was mad.
I can understand why.
Yeah.
There is nothing in common except the birds.
Why? What was the book about?
It was about it was in England, first of all.
Yeah, I think it was on a farm or something, and the birds kind of go mad, and that's really it. And none of the characters are the same. The setting's not because this is in California.
Right.
Nothing's the same except
The title and
Mad-
And the bird.
so I don't know
right.
if she thought it was gonna, because I read that he had purchased the story for an Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Right.
And then I guess just kind of sat on it, and it was like, no, and I'm like,
Are you Alfred Hitchcock? Is this a seance? Good evening.
Right.
I was like, oh shit.
Oh my God.
And he was like, I guess, no, I can do a little bit better. So yeah, I think she thought it was going to be a straight up adaptation for his show. And he was like, no, son.
So kind of like I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Exactly.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. But that was closer than this.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I remember some
There
stuff
you
you
go.
guys say.
It's not all in one ear. I did want to point out something very interesting. As you said, it was supposed to be Presents, but then there were a string of bird attacks. and so Hitchcock was like, maybe this could be a feature.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be like, man, maybe we shouldn't be doing this?
Yeah. The birds, no, dude, don't.
Yeah.
But we then fade into a busy San Franciscan street where we see Melanie Daniels, played by Tippi Hedren, in her screen debut, crossing a crosswalk alone.
I read that he had her, or she signed a 7-year contract before she even met him.
Mm-hmm.
And again, she thought she was going to be on Presents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But no, obviously.
Right.
But he was like, there was a lot of toxic shit going on.
There was, okay, so I do want to point out the majority of the information I have is from this documentary called All About the Birds. So,
All right.
yeah, rather than me saying, and according to that documentary, All About the Birds, I'm just going to put it out on Front Street right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I did see that she actually was in a commercial that Hitchcock saw on, I guess, the Today Show. When he was watching it with his wife.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, so,
Enamored.
yeah, I guess you could say that.
He's
And-
like, bring her to me.
Yeah. And so why is he like,
Is he Count Dracula?
I know. That's the count. We're getting our vampires crossed. But she went to the studio and she was told that a director wanted to meet with her, but she was never told who. And so she went through all these meetings and then eventually they were like, all right. It's Alfred Hitchcock. And so she's losing her fucking mind.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
She's like, I'm a model in New York. I did a couple commercials and fucking Alfred Hitchcock wants
Right.
me
Yeah.
for what? And so he brings her in and he's like, we're thinking of giving you the birds.
He's like, good evening.
Yeah. And so like he and his wife give her the birds after a screen test. By the way, she did her screen test with Martin Balsam, who was Detective Arbogast in Psycho.
Oh, shit.
Thought that was interesting because he's not in this film at all.
Yeah.
But they gave her the part of the birds because I guess it was kind of like a partner deal, it seemed like, him and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave her like a brooch that had 3 birds on it. And that's how they announced that she was going to be the star.
Well,
So it's kind of sweet
yeah.
at the
I
beginning
mean, yeah. For right now, it's sweet.
for the time being.
I did read that he made her lie about her age, though.
This confused me a lot because it said that the year that they were given was that she was 28 years old when this was made.
Yes.
But she was actually 33.
Yeah, because he said that she would not be able to start a career at 33. Even though he was starting her career at 33, she needed to
Right.
lie and say she was still in her 20s.
She's like, but I'm doing
Why?
it though.
Yeah.
But I am, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why?
There's another weird thing with the ages that we'll get to later.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, what the fuck? Maybe because I'm 32, I'm like, you fucking
Like,
piece
you
of shit.
motherfucker.
No, I mean, just because she's really 32, what'd you say? 33?
I think
Yeah.
33.
33.
Yeah.
What? You can still play a 24-year-old in the movie.
I think-
you don't have to actually be 24.
I think it's a different time with the studio
Yes.
system.
Yeah.
In the
and
60s.
This age of Hollywood. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like the mystique behind you, even in your real life, was just as important as in the film.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make sense for then either, but that's what he made her do.
yeah.
I think a lot of things from the 60s don't make sense now.
Not at all.
But at the time, she was probably like, yeah, sure, yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm 32.
Yeah.
I'm dying tomorrow.
I do want to point out a couple things that as she's crossing the street, we do hear birds overhead.
Mm-hmm.
Feels foreboding already, even though it's really just a typical part of being outside.
Yeah. Well, because it's called The Birds.
Yeah.
Like if he would have just called it Bodega Bay, like you wouldn't even be thinking about the sounds of the
Right.
birds right now.
That sounds like a romp. I do want to point out also that we see the camera pan across an ad for the city of San Francisco. Mm-hmm. This was used as a transition because Hitchcock hated filming on location.
Mm-hmm.
And so as it crosses from that ad to the left,
Right.
you go from on location to a studio set.
Wow.
It's nuts. And I watched it without knowing that.
Right.
But now I will never forget it because you can see it.
I didn't
but
even
if-
notice.
If nobody
Yeah.
told you, you would never know.
That's
fun.
crazy.
But Melanie stops in front of Davidson's pet shop, looking back across the street to see a flock of seagulls circling around in the distance. I do want to point out as well that the commercial that Hitchcock saw her in, somebody whistled at her and she turned around smiling.
Right.
And you see that happen
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
She's
Someone-
like, do that again.
Yeah. Are you Alfred Hitchcock? But she pays the birds no mind and heads inside the store. A man passes her on his way out, though, walking two small dogs. This is Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really wanted to put his
Hey, God damn it. I knew it. I did read that the two dogs he's walking are his dogs.
All right.
That's funny.
And on that documentary, they had said that basically they were treated better than most people.
Damn.
I completely believe that.
Yeah, 100%.
That's not even surprising.
Those dogs look well taken care of. But Melanie walks to the second floor of the pet shop. I was like, God damn, it's got 2 floors?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But she chats with Mrs. Magruder, played by Ruth McDevitt. Melanie asks her what's up with all the gulls outside, and Mrs. Magruder shrugs it off, saying it must be a storm at sea or something else driving them inland. The subject changes very quickly when Miss Magruder says that she was hoping that Melanie would be late because he hasn't arrived yet. As it turns out, he is a mynah bird that Melanie has ordered and was supposed to be here at 3 p.m. Miss Magruder explains that it was difficult getting him here because they're brought in from India, but he should hopefully be arriving soon. Melanie asks if he'll talk, and Miss Magruder is like, of course. Well, no, actually, you'll have to teach him.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, not of course.
No.
Oh.
You're in salesman mode, dude.
Yeah.
But Melanie looks annoyed because I'm sure that sounds like a lot of work. Mm-hmm. But Miss Magruder says that she'll phone them again since they're late. Melanie instead requests for the bird to be delivered to her place and jots down her address while Miss Magruder goes to make the call. We then see Mitch Brenner, a well-dressed man played by Rod Taylor, walk into the pet shop, hat in hand.
Something really interesting that I literally did not know until like 10 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Rod Taylor played Winston Churchill in Inglourious Bastards.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I swear.
Well,
Wait, the one we watch?
is there another one?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Oh,
you.
wait, there is a movie
There
called
is another
Inglourious.
one.
Yeah.
No, the misspelled one by Quentin Tarantino.
All right.
Yeah, I was like, what a career. Like, what the hell?
All
You wanna
right.
know
I'm all naming 2 things. What a career.
You want to know how dumb I am? I'm trying to imagine Rod Taylor in 1963 as Winston Churchill. And it was like 50 years later.
Yeah, he didn't look that way. Also, he kind of looks like Robin Williams to me.
You did say that.
At this
fair.
age. Yeah.
One thing that really confused me is that Rod Taylor was 33 here.
Yeah, he doesn't look 33.
I thought he was in his 40s. We started aging differently at some point in time.
I
Yeah,
guess. Well, because
wow,
they're
really?
Yeah.
8 days apart in real life. Him and Tippy.
Okay.
He's 8 days older than her.
All right.
Isn't
And-
it weird that he didn't have to say he was 28?
Yeah.
That's
Ain't
what I
that
was
the
gonna.
bullshit
yeah,
though?
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. But he's 33. Well,
That's fine.
Yeah. He can have a career. That was Hitchcock. I don't know why.
Mr. Hitchcock. I read that Hitchcock had considered Cary Grant for Mitch, but he was like, I'm not going to spend all that money paying for big name Cary Grant because the focus of this film, this is what he said, the focus of this film is the birds and my name over the title.
God damn.
well,
That
wasn't
fits,
humble.
That
Yeah.
fits so perfectly because I did see an interview with Rod Taylor, and he had said that on his first meeting with Hitchcock, he asked him, he's like, so, what's the deal with Mitch? Like, what's the character? Why is there not enough this, that?
Yeah.
And Hitchcock was like, well, the birds are the most important thing.
Are they?
And he's like, oh, okay. Sorry.
You are nothing.
Yeah. But it checks out. But Mitch heads upstairs as well, admiring the birds in cages before looking for help from Melanie. She asks what he's looking for, and he tells her lovebirds. Melanie, posing as a shop clerk, confirms that there are many different varieties. Mitch says that they're for his sister's birthday, who will be turning 11, and he wants a bird that won't be too demonstrative, but also won't be aloof.
So he doesn't want the birds showing each other the feathers in front of his little sister.
That's great.
Is that what he's saying?
Yes, he
Okay.
is. I thought demonstrative might have meant loud, but I guess banging.
I
What
thought it meant fucking.
Yeah, that's.
I do think it's funny because I think it is the collative learning, or it might have been the take, but they pointed out that this kind of feels like him describing the woman that he would like to have.
Okay, I can see that.
There are so many interpretations of this film,
Right.
like what the birds mean.
Yeah, the take video that you're talking about. When I watched that, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
They used to be Screen Prism, but the take, I would recommend watching their video about the birds because very interesting interpretation because, I mean, it's very interesting.
Yeah. And even if it's just talking about birds in general, I've never had a pet bird.
Right.
No.
So I don't know what you look for in a bird.
Well, I thought they were just talking about the fucking birds. But my mom always had birds. They're loud.
Uh-huh.
You have to change.
Don't they smell?
Yeah, you got to change the newspaper.
It smells wild.
Yeah. But I mean, she did have ones that would they would mimic your echo or your whistle, I'm sorry. And she did have ones that talked, and I was like, oh.
Birds are super smart.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
Like, I know we talk about their brain pans later,
Yeah.
but I think if they fucking had a mind to, we're toast.
Dude, the fact that they can echo speech, that's enough to be worried.
Yeah, no shit.
You should not be able to do that.
And that does not come up in this film.
No, it doesn't.
You would think there'd be a word that's like, I'm over here.
Yeah.
Help me.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta go. It's a fucking bird.
Yeah.
But Mitch asks if she has a pair of birds that are friendly, and she said she does, and that felt suggestive to me.
Right.
I was like, is he talking about her boobs? But that's also a bird. But no, tits are birds.
No, they're not.
Yeah, a tit's a bird.
Oh, like a titmouse, I think, right?
That's a mouse.
I quit the show.
Anyways, Melanie says
Swallows.
that's also a bird. Melanie says that she definitely does have a pair of friendly birds and walks him around the cages. She is a hilarious bullshitter because he points out a cage full of birds and asks if they're lovebirds. She sees that they're red and says, well, we call them red birds.
Yeah.
He goes, I thought they were strawberry finches. She's like, yeah, we call them that too.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about birds, man?
Yeah.
I was like, why is she doing this? That lady's going to be back any minute.
Yeah.
I think she's just bored. Like what we learn about her, she, has a lot of time in her
I was
hands.
going to say it makes a lot more sense in a minute, but now I'm like, lady.
What is happening?
Yeah, I was
What are
like,
you
you're just
doing?
being an ass, dude.
Yeah. It's like he really just wants to buy some birds and get out of here, dude.
Looks like he's on his lunch break.
Yeah.
Like, just let him.
Let's waste his time. But she takes him to a cage of canaries and she's like, yes, here are the lovebirds. And then he launches into a questionnaire like he's writing a research paper.
Yeah.
He's like, does it make you feel bad keeping the birds in cages? Are they kept separately for ornithological reasons? Is it because of molting season? Are they molting now? How could you tell? I'm like, God damn.
Yeah.
You need to calm down, Anderson Cooper.
Well, I feel like he's trying. I mean, I think already he knows, that she's
Right.
yanking his chain or whatever. And so he's fucking with her. But I'm like, how are you being righteous about the birds being kept in cages? Are you letting yours fly freely after you buy it? Like, you came to buy birds.
Oh, in one cage, please.
Yeah.
Like, you will be caging them. I did have to look it up because I did not know that birds molted.
No, yeah.
I did not know that. According to various sources, over the course of either a few weeks to a year, birds will shed and replace all of their feathers.
Holy shit.
They look really weird.
But they don't leave like a husk or anything, do they?
I think they look like a raw chicken.
Yeah. They do.
I don't know. Do they really?
Yeah.
I was fucking around.
Ew.
Yeah. That's gross.
I prefer a cat.
Yeah. I love my cat.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Melanie says that you can tell that they're molting because they sort of have a hangdog expression.
So stupid. I just thought of Kent and Allison listening to us right now and being
Oh,
like,
my God.
fucking-
Yeah.
And what, embarrassed to know
Yes.
us? We love you guys and we're sorry.
We do. They're vets. We don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. But Mitch is like, okay, cool. But about those lovebirds. She tells him that they actually have wonderful canaries here this week, and he asks to see one. She then opens up a cage and tries to take one out, but of course, it escapes, flying all over the store. She and a returning Mrs. Magruder try like hell to catch it while Mitch just stands idly by.
Yeah.
Why would you even try to take that out?
I don't know. You know what?
I can't with her already.
I've been watching a lot of Burn Notice, and when you're working with a cover identity, you really have to go all in. And she's like, if I don't take out this bird, he'll know.
You'll know I don't work here.
Yeah, and she can't have that shit. But the bird eventually lands on the counter where Mitch calmly puts his hat over it and then picks it up easily. He puts it back in the cage, saying, "Back in your gilded cage, Melanie Daniels." Melanie looks at him like, what the fuck? She asks how he knew her name, and he says that a little birdie told him. He bids the two women farewell, but Melanie stops him. I do want to point out, when he asked for help and she was just at the desk, he was normal. Mm-hmm. But the second she turned around, he had a knowing look on his face.
Uh-huh.
So
He's
he knew.
like, oh, here we go.
And he was playing it early. Like, those little acting beats.
Right.
Yeah.
They're very important. But Melanie asks how he knows her, and he admits that he saw her in court. He reminds her of a practical joke that she played that resulted in a broken window.
I love how scandalous he makes this broken window sound.
Well, he makes it a way bigger deal. She says that she didn't break any window, but he says that her prank did. He actually says the judge should have put her behind bars.
It's a broken
Yeah,
window.
no
Broken
shit.
window. He's not one for practical jokes.
Not a bit.
But she brings up the fact that he played along with her being the shopkeeper, even though he knew she wasn't. But he says that he only did that so she could see how bad it feels to be on the other end of the gag.
But she was also running a gag,
It was two gags. Yeah. They canceled each other out, right?
I guess.
But she calls him a louse, to which he agrees and bids her good day. She says that she's glad that he didn't get his lovebirds, and he says that he'll find something else and that he'll see her in court.
Are you hoping she gets put behind bars for playing another joke or what?
So, it's like, because I will be reporting this. Impersonating a shopkeep.
At this point, I'm like, oh, she just got a lot more interesting.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that this film really has going for it is the characters,
Yeah.
the chemistry. Mm-hmm. Because I did see on that doc that they had barely met. Mm-hmm. And then they did like the scene together.
Right.
And it seems like they are like, this feels like a meet cute.
I was going to say it's a meet cute.
Yeah.
It's a beak cute. I'm sorry.
Or a meat coop. Chickens. But the thing is that Evan Hunter, the screenwriter, said that his idea of The Birds was starting as a screwball comedy and turning it into something stark and terrifying. And I think that he's very successful.
Well, it definitely starts as a comedy for me personally because it gets better in a minute.
Yeah. So Melanie asks Miss Magruder who that man was, and she says that she has no idea. Melanie then runs downstairs to catch a glimpse of his license plate before he pulls away. You know, like a creep.
Uh-huh.
Right.
She writes it down, though, and Miss Magruder calls from upstairs saying that the Mina bird will arrive this afternoon. Melanie hops on the phone, calling the front desk of the Daily News. She connects with her friend Charlie and asks a small favor of him. She wants him to call the DMV to find out who owns the car with the license plate that she jotted down. She says that she'll stop by in a bit and asks if Daddy is in his office. She finds out that he is and says she'll see him later. But when she gets off the phone, she asks Miss Magruder if she can order a couple of lovebirds, which will be in tomorrow morning.
This is already, I'm like, bitch.
Yeah.
It's funny to me because, I mean, we learn a lot with that phone call because not only do you know that her dad's an important person in the city,
Yep.
she is wealthy. Mm-hmm. And then when she gets off the phone, look, I don't know you guys' financial situation, but I can't fucking order some lovebirds willy-nilly tonight. I can't do that. But the next morning, we see Melanie carrying a cage of lovebirds onto an elevator. A man played by Richard Deacon eyes the bird suspiciously as if he's never seen a bird before.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just birds, dude. But Melanie gets off the elevator and he follows close behind. She sets the cage in front of an apartment door with an envelope reading, Mr. Mitchell Brenner. As she turns to leave, the man stops her to let her know that Mitch won't be back in town until Monday, and unless she wants him to find a couple of tiny bird skeletons, she should probably take them with her.
Thank you, nosy neighbor.
He read the card.
Yeah.
Did you say Mitch Brenner?
He's not in.
No. But he tells her that he's actually going out of town for the weekend, too. I'm like, I don't need to know your life story.
No.
I guess he's saying that because he would look after them for her, so maybe he's not the dick we're making him out to be.
Mind your business.
Yeah, but he does tell her that Mitch is in Bodega Bay, which is about an hour and a half away.
Yeah, I didn't understand why he was telling this stranger everything of his
he was really
neighbor's
telling
business.
all Mitch's business.
She could be anyone.
Well, she could be.
There's a moment in a minute that is goddamn unbelievable with how much information they give away.
Yes.
But we'll get to that. But we then transition to Melanie driving her car down a winding road near Bodega Bay. The birdcage sat on the floor of the passenger seat, and the birds hilariously swaying with every turn of the car.
Yeah, they were leaning with it, rocking with it. But this is a level of petty that I can only appreciate. This woman tracked this man down, found out where he lived, bought those birds with her own fucking money, and is taking at least a 4-hour trip to and from out of her way just for a fuck you. You love to see it. I love to see it.
I don't. That's a red flag.
Well,
I don't.
Oh, absolutely.
I want nothing to do with you.
She's not going for love. She's going for.
I don't care.
You wanted lovebirds?
Stay away.
Here's your fucking lovebirds.
Get away from me.
It's spite.
No, that's
Absolutely.
I do feel like the only way that this would make sense for me is if instead of a card in there, it was the receipt for the birds, because she does deserve to be paid back for them. I did want to point out that we've talked about Bodega Bay on this show before. We talked about it on both the Fog episode and I Know What You Did Last Summer. These winding roads look incredibly familiar if you've seen either of the films.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, I've been here before.
Yeah.
We were just here.
Yeah, just a few weeks back. But Melanie speeds like a bat out of hell, screeching and fucking drifting down the road. The look on her face is super cash, though.
Yeah.
No, yeah, she's Tokyo drifting, and just fucking her face is like,
This is how you drive, right?
Yeah.
But when she arrives in Bodega Bay, she parks her car and heads to the post office. I do want to point out again, they're using a very interesting technique to film this stuff. I'll talk about it a little bit later when it's more prevalent. But they are filming the backgrounds of the city, and they're what's behind her.
Right.
It's actually Bodega Bay as a backdrop. But then when she pulls into the post office, it's a set on the lot.
What the hell?
Yeah, there's so many of these weird transitions between like on location.
Just because Hitchcock
doesn't like
want
it. Yeah.
So weird.
It's so weird.
I know you said earlier, there is a few times where you can see it.
Yeah.
And I told your sister, I was like, you can tell. But I think it was the first night I watched it. And I was like, oh, you can see that.
It's funny because you can spot it, but then at the same time, you're like, well, it's 1963.
Yeah.
This probably was blowing people's minds.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But at the post office, she asks the postal clerk, played by John McGovern, if he knows a man called Mitchell Brenner. He says he does, and she asks where he lives. The clerk, who is absolutely about to lose his job for this shit, takes her outside and points across the bay at a White House surrounded by trees. He's like, that's where the Brenners live.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She literally could be a serial killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Melanie's like, Mr. and Mrs. Brenner? She's like, I'm not about to be a side piece.
Yeah.
We're not doing that shit. But he's like, no, that's where Lydia Brenner and the 2 kids live. The 2 kids are Mitch and his little sister.
Mitch is not a kid.
No, he's not. He is a 45-year-old man. But she asks how to get there, and he tells her that the road will take her right to their front door. But Melanie isn't down for that, saying she wants to surprise them. So the clerk recommends that she snags a boat from over by the Tides restaurant. He even offers to order the boat for her.
Yeah.
She sounds so sketchy.
It's-
This does not sound on the up and up at all.
When you read in the paper tomorrow that the Brenners were brutally murdered, he's like, man, I shouldn't be giving out addresses like
Yeah,
that.
no, he's like, go down there. They usually leave their door unlocked, so go right in. It's like, what the fuck?
It made me laugh when he pointed. He's like, you see that house across the bay? Yeah, that one right there. I was like, this is unbelievable. This is the most unprofessional shit.
Yeah.
At this point, my next note is, if this woman really gets a boat, I'm going to scream. This is so much.
The level of pettiness.
It's so much. I was like, how much XP did she get for discovering Bodega Bay? Because this is a Fallout quest.
No.
First, you got to get the birds. Then you go to the apartment. Oh, no, he's not at the apartment. You got to go to Bodega Bay. Oh, no, he's not here. You got to get a boat. What?
No, it's a lot.
Talk to the shopkeep. He's got something for you.
One of our settlements is in trouble.
Yeah.
But Melanie stares across the bay before heading back inside and asking the clerk what Mitch's sister's name is. After a bit of confusion, maybe it's Alice, maybe it's Lois, he gives her a side quest, basically. He gives her directions to a house with a red mailbox just beyond the school. He says that she'll find Annie Hayworth, the school teacher, there, and she'll give her the name of the girl.
Tell me this isn't a Fallout quest.
I swear to God.
Look me in my face and tell me that we're not in Megaton right now.
Is this the Birds fucking DLC?
But I'm like, why are you bringing the child into this?
Yeah.
Well,
I can't.
I mean, the birds are for her, so it does help sell her story.
So ridiculous.
I don't know what's going on, but he says that he can save her the trouble because her name is totally Alice. Mm-hmm. Melanie offers to pay for the phone call that he made for the boat, but the clerk pshaws it, and so Melanie just bails out, driving to Annie's house. She heads to the front door, and we hear the chatter of children in the background as she does. I could never live this close to a school.
No, it would suck.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll take a house. I'll live in the school.
You live in the school. I just want to say we haven't met Annie yet, but she is a saint to put up with that shit.
Yeah.
I also want to point out that Annie's house was built by the production in Bodega Bay for this.
Damn.
Jeez.
I thought the money was for the birds.
Yeah, what the fuck?
We can't be building shit.
Right,
No.
birds and name.
It's just 90 minutes of the birds
Yeah.
and Alfred Hitchcock's
With his name on the screen.
Yeah. But Melanie knocks on the door, and Annie, played by Suzanne Plachette, calls out asking who it is. Melanie says, me.
Yeah.
I both cannot stand and love her. Me? Who the fuck
Yeah,
is
who's
me?
that?
Nobody knows you. I was dying. I could not stop laughing.
Have you ever even been to Bodega Bay?
Yeah.
But yeah, Annie's like, who is me? And so she rounds the corner to meet Melanie, who introduces herself, asking the name of the Brenner girl. But Annie tells her that the girl's name is Kathy, and Melanie says that the postman was sure it was Alice or Lois.
Yeah, they were both wrong.
Yeah.
Annie goes, yeah, that's why the mail service sucks here. I'm like, save it for the city
Wow.
council meeting.
She's like, and they keep telling everybody our business.
Yeah. No,
And why are you
no
telling this
shit.
random lady this child's name?
Yeah.
They're like, she's like, her name is Kathy. You know that house across the
Yeah.
Are there any rules here?
And she really likes candy. So I'm sure
Yeah,
if you
I'm
offer her
sure.
some, she'll go with you.
It's easy. But Annie offers her a smoke and lights it for her, asking what business she has with Kathy. When Melanie says that it's not about Annie understands, asking if she's a friend of Mitch's. Yeah. The camera zooms in fast on Melanie like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
What is the tea, though?
Melanie says that she really isn't a good friend of his or anything, and Annie just changes the subject to her garden, which Melanie compliments, and when asked, says that she only plans to be in town for a few hours. After being vague as hell after a line of questioning, Annie admits that Melanie's plans are none of her business. Melanie thanks her for the info on Kathy, though, and walks to her car, but Annie follows. She asks if Melanie took the coast road from San Francisco, and when she says she did, Annie asks if that's where she met Mitch. Annie says that she guesses that's where everyone meets Mitch. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
What's really going on?
She then notices the chirping birds in the passenger seat, and when Melanie tells her they're lovebirds, Annie's like, I see.
Yeah.
It's like, was this a custom back in the 60s?
Annie's not about it.
No.
Something very quickly. Did she sound like Kathleen Turner to anybody else?
Maybe a little.
Yeah.
Her voice totally reminded me of her. But this teacher, I guess, was supposed to be older. And Suzanne Plachette auditioned for Melanie, or I guess wanted to play Melanie.
Right.
And
She wanted to be her.
to be Melanie. But Hitchcock let her have the role of the school teacher. And he was like, so Melanie's in her mid-20s and the school teacher is 32. But for real, Suzanne Plachette was 25.
Yeah.
What?
I don't get it. It makes no sense to me.
I can't even imagine being inside the head of Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
It is just all very confusing to me, but
It's like, whatever you say, Al. Sure thing, Hitch.
I did want to point out that Suzanne Plachette was actually on an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, which might have been not necessarily where she got her foot in the door with old Hitch, but it couldn't have hurt.
Right. Also, really quickly before we move on, John Paul was on IMDb, I guess, and she plays Yababa and Zaniba in Spirited Away.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
she's the voices.
I was like, what the hell? I thought that was really, really cool.
Well, she's got a great voice.
She does.
Oh, yeah.
Even at 25, I was like,
She
God
does.
damn.
Yeah.
It's Kathleen Turner.
Yeah. I do want to point out that she is gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
John Paul was saying that he thinks she would have made a better leading lady than Tippi Hedren.
Well, I mean, the thing with Hitchcock that everybody kind of talks about is that he was kind of obsessed with blondes.
Okay.
Are you speaking as a brunette offended?
I am. That's he's stupid.
He's also dead.
Well, God damn it again.
You know what they say, Nay? Speak ill of the dead. But he was kind of an asshole. But Annie wishes Melanie luck, and Melanie just drives off as Annie looks on after her. It is clearly a jilted lover situation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, it's not even poorly hidden.
No, Annie, I'm serious. She's fucking not having it.
No.
She's not happy.
But in the next scene, we see Melanie writing to Kathy on an envelope and placing it with the birdcage.
Don't bring
Yeah.
Kathy into this. She's done nothing.
It's pretty unfair. I don't know what word to
These
use.
are spite birds. These
Yeah.
birds were not acquired out of love.
Don't they?
They're going to
Don't
carry that with
yeah.
them.
they carry the energy of
They have
Right.
the energy
How they were bought.
of how they were acquired. Those birds are going to be petty as fuck.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
But Melanie drives down to the charter boats, snags the bird cage, and walks to the dock. A fisherman, played by Doodles Weaver, I did not get the background on his name. I am fairly certain that has to be a nickname.
I
Yeah.
hope it's a nickname.
Yeah, Weaver, right? What a weird...
Right. But he is Sigourney Weaver's uncle.
No
Wow.
Yes. Isn't that
Nice.
insane?
shit. That is very insane. And there's an interesting point that I want to bring up later, casting-wise, that's going
Okay.
to blow your mind.
All right.
All right.
But Doodles, the fisherman...
Doodles sounds like a clown.
Yeah, I know. He points her toward the boat that the postman rented for her. The fisherman takes her birdcage and helps her into it. He then starts the motor and ascends a very rickety ladder back up to the dock, sending her off by herself.
Sorry. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's the point where you've escalated so much you don't realize how far you've taken it.
Yeah.
Because it was baby
Like,
steps.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my God.
Okay, I'll take him to his house. Oh, I guess I got to take a car ride. I guess I got to go. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
these baby steps, and now you're in the middle of the fucking lake.
Yeah.
Rowing. Dude, I was dying. I was laughing so hard.
It's like that stupid like sitcom thing where two people try to out dare each other
Yeah.
and then they end up getting married.
Yeah.
You know, that's what this feels like. But I do want to say the shots of her on the boat are very well done in a way that the way that they did it is very tricky and very skillful. Basically, blue screen technology was invented and in use, but it wasn't up to Hitchcock's standards.
Of course not.
So they used something called sodium traveling matte shot processing. It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
But what it does is it combines foregrounds and backgrounds shot at different times. So she is shot against a yellow background. There's sodium lights on the wall behind her that are yellow, and there's a white light that's shining at her. She's shot with a camera that is only sensitive to the white light. So it basically erases the entire background.
What the
Holy
fuck?
shit.
So then they came back later, shot the water in the background of the bay, and they used that camera as well, put the film splices together, had people animate it between so that you couldn't tell that one was one and one was the other.
What
That's
the
a
hell?
lot.
It's so much fucking work.
That's a lot.
Damn.
Like, it's so funny to consider now when you just use a green screen.
Yeah.
But the thing is that at the time, it was so, like, not super in use that they knew that with birds flapping their wings against a blue screen, it would look like shit.
Yeah.
Or even her hair, you know,
Moving.
it would look like shit. So Hitchcock is like, nope, I want everyone working 100 hours a week.
No shit.
But they did it, and I think it was Disney who was implementing this sodium matte shot processing. And so he like went to people at Disney and had them help him out. It's
right.
unbelievable.
That's crazy. All because the blue screen wasn't up to his
Yeah.
standard.
Yeah.
But if it was a blonde screen, it'd be just fucking...
It's like use it every time. Why do we make him such a creep?
Because that's what he
He was-
sounds
yeah,
like.
I know. But she reaches the dock on the other end of the bay, and she gets out of the boat after tying it up. She then carries the bird cage, surveying a barn on the other side of the Brenner's property. This barn was built for this production. Mm-hmm. It was not on the property. The house itself was like run down, and they had to renovate it.
Oh, wow.
And it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I'd live there. You can take the school. I'm living in this house. But Melanie just lets herself inside unannounced and sets the birdcage down in the living room with the card that she wrote for Kathy. She then tears up the card that she wrote to Mitch as well.
Yeah.
I thought that was...
She's like, that's too petty.
Yeah, but this is fine.
Yeah.
That's too far.
I'm doing great.
Isn't he just out at the barn?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But my thing is like, he's not even thinking about you, dude. Like,
No.
that's just something that happened yesterday.
He's in his head, he's like,
Yeah.
Not even thinking about you.
he's trying to think of a second gift.
Yeah.
He's like, well, the lovebirds, that was a bust.
Yeah.
It's the funniest shit. And she just lets her, you don't know who else could be there.
Nope.
Oh my God.
And she was literally told that Lydia Brenner lives there,
Yes.
and so does his sister.
or there could be a child inside, and you're
And-
just waltzing into his house. Didn't even take her fur off. This
No.
bitch is
No.
messy as hell,
Yeah.
not even taking the fur off.
And it's the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like,
It's not in school.
no. But she peeks out of a window to the barn and then heads out the way she came in. She rushes back to the boat, hopping inside and turning it around. As she sails off into the bay, she turns around to see Mitch heading inside the White House.
She stops to look at her handiwork.
Yeah. Shortly after he runs in the house, he comes out looking to see who could have left the birds. When he spies Melanie's boats, she just dips down out of sight.
Now it's just a random boat floating.
Yeah.
We see him running back into the house, and Melanie starts the engine. With a pair of binoculars, he sees that it's Melanie and just smiles.
He sees her so clearly.
Yeah.
that I started laughing. She's
It's-
like, oh.
But the birds are loud overhead as he hops into his car, driving like a madman to meet her across the bay. He almost drives into the bay.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's flying. He's Tokyo drifting now. It made me laugh because until we started hearing the birds, I forgot that
Yeah.
this was
Yeah.
about the birds.
Oh, no, yeah.
I thought this was just portrait of Melanie Daniels, the world's pettiest woman.
There is
And I was like, oh shit, birds. That's
Yeah.
right. That's what we're doing here.
there is a point in the film where you think the birds could just mean the birds she brought for Kathy.
Yeah.
Like, this is
called
an
The
adorable film.
Lovebirds, yeah.
But her eyes follow his car as he makes his way around, and he rushes out to meet her back at the dock. Out of nowhere, a gull swoops down and attacks her head. She grabs at her head, and we see a spot of blood on her glove.
Real quick. Thank you, bird. And her in the boat, too long. Him driving around the thing, too long.
It does go on for a
we-
bit.
It's a bit.
Yeah, we
These-
could have just a little shorter, been fine.
These are where you'd make your cuts.
Yeah, well, some. You know, like I said, you can lose a couple of seconds here and there. I get what you were doing, but just a little shorter, you know?
Yeah.
That's fair. I agree. I did laugh because it looked like the bird bitch slapped her,
Yeah.
and she kind of had it coming. But this is kind of the end of the pettiness. It continues a little bit more because she's not done with her lies
Yeah.
yet. But I just want to commend that whole sequence because I was having that to me was you should have never called me a fat ass Kelly Price energy.
Well, if you think about
One thing, and she's like, "Oh, we gonna get this bitch." Like she was not.
she carried that energy for days.
Yeah.
She had to wait for the birds. You remember?
You're right.
They weren't
You're
there. So, I mean, fuck, dude.
I just love it so much.
Hats off to her.
You woke up that morning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get
So
this motherfucker.
She chose violence.
Yeah.
She did.
She wasn't having it.
But I do want to point out that this bird was mechanical.
Oh, okay.
And this is what I'm saying with the split, background,
Yeah,
foreground.
yeah.
This was shot fully in a studio. They sent a bird on a wire. They hairsprayed her hair to fuck. And left one strand dangling so that when the bird hit her, it would flop down. So you see that it happens. It sells the moment of
Yeah,
impact.
it does.
And there was also a blood pack in the bird, and so it was timed that they would release the blood pack
Wow.
when it made contact.
Oh, all right. right.
Practical effects for the win.
Yeah. There's a lot of... They were nominated for an Academy Award for all these special effects.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't win, but I struggled to think of what
did win.
Yeah.
could have been more ambitious than this, because they do a lot of shit in this movie.
Yeah.
But Mitch hops into the boat as it reaches the dock, asking if she's all right. And he's like, that's the damnedest thing I ever saw. It seemed to swoop down at you deliberately. I'm like, how do you know the bird's intentions?
Yeah.
But he helps her onto the dock, and we see blood running down the side of her face. A man they pass is like, buddy, what the fuck happened? Mitch tells him that a gull hit her. He's like, a gull? But Mitch walks Melanie past a phone booth and into the Tides restaurant. The man who was asking what happened, I read, was actually the owner of the Tides restaurant in a cameo role.
Was this the man named Mitch?
Yes, it was.
Oh, wow.
He said, now I read this a lot, but it's so ridiculous that I don't know.
No, it's insane.
His name...
Big if true.
Yes. His name is Mitch, and 2 conditions for filming at the Tides restaurant.
Right.
1, I get a speaking cameo role.
Which he did.
Which he did. And 2, you name the lead male character after me.
Well, fuck.
And
his name is Mitch.
I don't know.
All right.
It could be true.
It could literally just be a coincidence.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a game of telephone.
Mm-hmm. You know, he wrote the film. I don't know. But everyone stares as they walk in and sit down at a table. I didn't understand why they're so... Is it because blood's running down her face?
Yeah.
Probably. Nobody bled in 1960.
But Deke Carter, the innkeeper played by Lonnie Chapman, walks over and asks what happened, offering to call the doctor. He asks his wife, Helen, played by Elizabeth Wilson, to grab some cotton and antiseptic. Deke's like, so you cut yourself outside, right? Because he's not trying to get sued.
Yeah.
We're not liable for
No,
birds.
no.
Nope.
It's like, sue the birds themselves.
Right.
We didn't do shit.
That's active bird, and that's got nothing to do with us.
Aren't you familiar with bird law?
Yes.
But Mitch says Melanie isn't going to sue anyone, and Deke's like, well, you're the lawyer.
Can we get that in writing, please?
Yeah.
And have her sign it immediately. But Helen returns with some peroxide, which Mitch administers. Melanie's like, so you're a lawyer, huh?
I'll say he may be a lawyer, but he's no doctor, because that cotton ball was fucking cross-contamination city.
Oh, yeah.
He's rubbing her blood and then putting it back on the thing.
Uh-huh.
It's like, dude, you don't know.
Yeah.
I think he dipped it in some au jus as well. But honestly, him being a lawyer makes sense because he was all on her case about the pranks earlier.
He was.
Yeah.
Now,
See you in court.
yeah, I was like, oh shit. But he asks her what she's doing in Bodega Bay, and she says that she wanted to bring the birds for Kathy's birthday. Then she lies and says that she came by to see a friend of hers, Annie Hayworth, the school teacher.
Stop.
Yeah.
I was laughing because he was like, oh yeah, who's your friend? And I'm like, she's such a bad liar.
She is.
Yeah.
Bird scratching.
Cotton Alcoholman. Yes, that's right.
That's him. That's my buddy. We go way back.
Best friend.
It just made me laugh because like clearly Annie knew Mitch.
Yes.
But like you still had the audacity just because that's the only name you knew to still throw it out there.
She could have said that the postal clerk was her father. I don't know.
Could have said anything.
Yeah.
Like
She's
anything.
like, oh, I'm here to see Mitch Brenner. He's like, that's me.
That's me. What the fuck are you talking about?
She's just such a bad liar. It was hilarious to me.
But of course, Mitch, knowing Annie, he's like, small world.
Yeah.
But when asked, Annie says that she'll be in town for the weekend. So he sits down with her and starts to grill her like a prosecutor. He says that he thinks that she came here to see him. He's like, you really like me, huh?
Yeah.
She says she loathes him. And that she even wrote a letter to him about it, but she tore it up. She says she doesn't care for the seagulls either. I was like, you don't like it here at all.
Fuck this town.
And the boat was rickety.
Your corn is trash.
So, yeah.
Melanie, please.
But she's like, I came all the way up here to, and he's like, I thought you were already coming up here. And she looks at him like, fuck.
Yeah.
But just then, Lydia Brenner, Mitch's mother, played by Jessica Tandy, walks in, saying that she saw Mitch's car outside and asked what he's doing in town. He introduces her to Melanie, and Lydia is very displeased to meet her.
Yeah, what a warm welcome that she gets from this woman.
It's tough, man.
God damn.
But Mitch tells her that Melanie delivered a couple of birds for Kathy and will be staying for the weekend, and that he's invited her to dinner tonight. Lydia is even less pleased to hear this, and when she finds out that the birds are lovebirds, she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I see." I'm like, is this just what was going on in the 60s? Was this part of like a marriage proposal?
Everyone's so scandalized.
It's like these damn lovebirds.
Right.
It's the only. Maybe that's why they're out. So many people are trying to get married and shit.
It's part of the mating ritual.
I guess so. And by the way, the birds are for Kathy.
Yeah.
It's not like she got them for Mitch.
But they're petty birds.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no confusion
Pettiest
there.
birds.
But Mitch is reminded that dinner is at 7, and he offers to pick Melanie up, who lies again and says that she's staying with Annie. Melanie says that she'll find her own way to Mitch's to avoid being caught as, a liar.
Right.
Mitch asks how her head is, and Melanie explains to Lydia what happened. Lydia just looks on, sending a flock of seagulls to finish the job inside her mind.
Flock of seagulls.
Yes. But in the next scene, we see Melanie back at Annie's place. She rings the buzzer, and Annie comes out asking if she found Kathy. She says she did, and thanks to a convenient as hell room for rent sign on the door, Melanie asks if she can stay the night. She lies again, saying everywhere in town is full, so Annie reluctantly agrees. Annie lets Melanie inside, telling her that there's some fresh coffee on the stove. She then stares into the sky as we hear the sounds of seagulls cawing, and she asks if they ever stop migrating. Melanie watches as dozens of them fly by overhead. So they're like silent observers going on right now.
Yeah, like nothing big has happened. I mean, besides her getting bitch slapped by one of them, but they're just constantly in the periphery.
Yeah.
And every time you're like, oh, I'm back in the rom-com, it's like, nah, bitch, remember? They're up there.
They're always sticking their beak into shit when
They
you
are.
think. It's funny to me because when have you ever saw a bird and thought anything more of it than that's just a bird?
Oh, look, it's a bird.
Yeah. Like, after watching this movie, just going to the grocery store this morning, I heard birds on the way there, and I go inside, I come out, and there is a bird on my car.
Yeah, he sent me a picture.
Because I was like, oh shit, they know I saw their movie.
He knows.
They're like, he saw her greatest hit, so we can fuck him up now. But that night, we see Melanie driving to the Brenner's farm, parking and checking her makeup. She gets out and rings the bell at the front door. She then looks off to see Mitch, Lydia, and Kathy, played by Veronica Cartwright. This is the connection I'm talking about. You just said Sigourney Weaver's uncle?
Right. Doodles.
Doodles.
Doodles the clown.
You may remember Veronica Cartwright because in 16 Years, in Alien, she plays Lambert.
Oh,
What
shit.
the fuck?
Yeah.
All right.
That's crazy. I'm like, my mind is blown. You delivered.
Is that crazy or what?
Holy shit.
And first of all, what a fucking resume.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess she was in a couple of episodes of Hitchcock Presents.
Right. Makes sense.
And then she eventually meets Alfred Hitchcock. She said that at their meeting, all he talked about were which wines were the best and how to properly cook a steak.
All
right.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's very interesting conversation for an 11-year-old to have.
Yeah.
Also, and I read this and I want to say the trivia on IMDb because it was brought to my attention. This is not my area of expertise. It is yours.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
She was on Scary Movie 2. I
What?
guess the introduction of Scary Movie 2 where they're making fun of, I think I read The Exorcist. She plays the mom.
Oh, shit. Okay.
She's also in The Witches, which is my,
That is yours.
That is my jam. But yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah,
That's
that's
ridiculous.
right.
That's crazy to me.
Because James Woods is in that scene.
I can't.
Yeah, I can.
He's a scumbag.
But it's funny.
He's a what?
Yeah.
He's a scumbag piece of shit. It's going to be a t-shirt soon. But I also thought it was interesting that Veronica Cartwright is playing a girl who's having her birthday. And while they were filming this, they celebrated her 13th birthday.
Oh, shit.
That is interesting. I'm so sorry. I'm scrolling through her IMDb to make sure I said the right Scary Movie film.
Yeah.
She is a voice on Fallout 4.
What?
Yeah, there you go.
I can't fucking make this up.
What is with this full circle bullshit?
I don't know, but I feel weird.
Who was she in Fallout?
A trash can.
A trash can?
You're going to have to.
I'm just kidding. It's
Oh, I
somebody's
was
name.
like, what?
Oh,
Trash can something.
a trash can.
She played a trash can. Trash can Carla.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
She walks
she-
around with the Brahma bull and sells you shit.
And Doc Anderson. She plays like several
Oh,
people.
shit.
I'm like, it's mind blown city right now.
Now, I have not played Fallout.
Well, my
yeah.
condolences.
But Kathy rushes up to Melanie, giving her a hug and thanking her for the birds. They head inside with Mitch remarking that Annie must not have had plans. I'm like, you absolute bastard. But he says that they were at the coop checking in on the chickens because they're acting strange. Lydia says that they're fine in full denial mode, but Mitch lets it slip that they're not eating. Lydia busts inside, going full Karen and calling the man who sold the feed to her.
Yep.
In the background, Melanie is offered a drink by Mitch and admires a photo of his father. But Lydia is full going off on Fred, the chicken feed man, who tells her that he got a call from Dan Fawcett, another man in town whose chickens won't eat either. This call, it kind of goes on forever, and you feel like Mitch and Melanie just waiting for her to tell you what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they call Hitchcock the master of suspense for a reason, because it was killing me on this.
Yeah.
You're like, what? God damn it, what is it?
Seriously.
She does say something kind of creepy because like the conversation is like super mundane. Like, no, that's the feed. No, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Yeah.
Because she's like, chickens are always hungry, which
Yeah.
was scary to me.
Yeah.
In the context
They're
of this
always,
film.
yeah. But after she gets off the phone, she tells him what's up, and Kathy's like, look, it's like you said, his feed sucks. We can all agree.
Yeah.
But as it turns out, Mr. Fawcett was sold a different brand of feed, and so she just kind of stares off in confusion.
Interesting.
Interesting. But after dinner, Melanie is fucking killing it on the piano,
She is.
and Kathy's just hanging out with her as Lydia clears the table. Kathy asked how she knew that she liked the lovebirds, and Melanie says Mitch told her. It makes me laugh because she's like, I still don't know how you knew that I wanted lovebirds. I'm like, how could you? It's a very easy, just A to B, man. But Lydia's like, oh, so you're a friend of his from San Francisco. And Melanie's like, not exactly.
Yeah.
Just making it sound worse.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, just say yes. But Kathy says that Mitch knows a lot of people in San Francisco, but they're mostly hoods.
Kathy is just spilling the tea,
Yeah.
She
and I'm
is.
here for it. Dude, kids will just tell you shit.
Yeah.
Like, just be quiet and listen.
Lydia's like, Kathy!
Yeah.
But she reminds her as well that everyone is entitled to a fair trial. Kathy's like, dude, yeah, fine, but they're still hoods, right?
So,
I don't know.
What you got against hoods,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kathy?
what the fuck? But I love how we're attacking an 11-year-old girl. But Lydia leaves annoyed, and Kathy tells of a client of Mitch's who shot his wife in the head 6 times. I assumed that he was a prosecutor based on how much he was trying.
The way he was
Yeah.
acting,
Yeah.
yeah.
So to hear he's a defense attorney, kind of surprising.
It doesn't
Yeah.
really fit, but
But Kathy's like, even 2 times would be overkill. And Mitch says that the guy did it because he was watching a ball game and his wife changed the channel. They just laughed it off.
yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
great.
like, a woman is dead.
yeah, that's awesome.
But Kathy asks if Melanie will be at her party tomorrow, but she says that she isn't sure because she has to return to the city. Kathy's like, don't you like us? Don't you like Bodega Bay? I was like, is this a cult?
yeah.
Don't you want to join
It's
us?
fucking forever
It was
and
a little
ever.
weird.
It's a lot, dude. But she says that if Melanie does decide to come, don't say anything about it because it's supposed to be a surprise party. She then recounts the convoluted plan to get her away from the house and bring her back to preserve the surprise.
Yeah.
She then begs Melanie to attend, and Melanie, still playing the piano, politely declines. In the kitchen, Lydia says Melanie is kind and pretty and is like, how did you meet her again? Mitch reminds her that it was at the bird shop, and Lydia's like, in a bird shop.
Yeah.
In a bird shop. It's like, why are you...
That's right. The lovebird.
that
How could I
about?
forget?
You just kind of sense the insult coming.
Yeah.
But she's like, so she was selling birds, or... And he's like, no, I just led her to believe that. Look, it's very complicated.
Listen, Mom.
Jesus. After the questions continue, he asks her where she went to law school because she's really grilling him.
Yeah.
She is.
But they both laugh and Lydia apologizes. She reminds Mitch that Melanie is very rich and that you'd think with her father running one of the biggest newspapers in the city, he'd be able to keep her name out of them. She brings up an incident where Melanie apparently jumped into a fountain in Rome naked, and she's like, well, maybe, I'm old-fashioned, but
Yeah.
it's obviously a point of contention for her.
Yeah.
Honestly, Melanie sounds like a blast.
I mean, she's fucking pranking people. She's getting naked in fountains. I'm like,
sounds like a great time.
Yeah,
You're never bored with Melanie.
Right.
is she on Jackass? But Mitch says that he's sure that he can handle Melanie Daniels, and Lydia says, well, as long as you know what you want. She's like teaching a masterclass in passivity.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Mitch walks Melanie to her car, and he reminds her that he's in the city 5 days a week with a lot of free time. He says maybe they could go swimming, and brings up the gossip about the incident in Rome. Melanie nips that shit in the bud. Not only was she fully clothed, but she was pushed into the fountain. The paper who ran the story is a rival of her father's. Mitch is like,
Sure, Jen.
But then he asks if she really knows Annie, and Melanie's like, no, that was a lie.
Yeah.
He then asks about the letter she wrote and wants to know what it said. She says that it said, Dear Mr. Brenner, I think you need these lovebirds after all. They may help your personality.
Petty. Queen
Very.
Petty.
Yeah. He then asks why she tore it up, and she says because it was foolish, and so he conflates it to jumping into the fountain in Rome. He won't let it go.
Yeah.
She's like, look, we're not going to talk about this anymore.
She starts the car, just pissed off, and he says that he would still like to see her, though, and that it might still be fun. She's not down, and he asks her what she wants. She says she wants to go through life jumping into fountains naked and then just speeds off.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's fantastic.
I love it.
She does say goodnight.
Yeah.
And Mitch smiles after she leaves. So it's like, just a sweet little moment. But we then get a shot of power lines around the house filled to the brim with birds. Mitch is clearly unsettled by it, but heads inside. Love that shot. Really, any of the bird shots?
Yeah, no, they're great.
They're great.
Yeah.
But Melanie arrives back at Annie's house in a huff. Annie, who is sat on the couch reading the paper, asks Melanie what's wrong and offers her some brandy. She's a good friend.
Yeah.
She pours a glass for each of them and asks how her evening went with Mitch and if she met Lydia. Melanie prefers a change of subject, so she asks how she's digging Bodega Bay. Melanie says that she despises it and then finds out that Annie is originally from San Francisco herself. She says a friend invited her here for a weekend a long time ago. A friend, she's like, we can give up semantics and
Yes.
shit. It was
Who's your
Mitch Brenner.
friend?
Yeah.
Is it Bird Scratchington? No. It's Mitch.
It's Mitch, dude. But she says that Melanie has nothing to worry about because their time has passed. Melanie says that there's nothing between her and Mitch either. So Annie says maybe there isn't anything between Mitch and any girl. Melanie's like, what?
I was like, what the hell does that mean?
What are you saying? But Annie tells of how 4 years ago, when she was seeing Mitch, he invited her here to meet Lydia shortly after his father died. She says that she and Lydia didn't get along at all, and she wondered what she did to rub her the wrong way. She said she realized the problem was that Lydia liked her, and the odd thing is that now, since she's no longer interested in Mitch, she and Lydia are good friends. She says that Lydia isn't afraid of losing Mitch to another woman, she's just afraid of being abandoned. But the whole thing put Mitch in a difficult spot, so things ended shortly after between them. But she also says that she moved here to be near Mitch, so it's like, what?
What
Yeah.
what are you saying right now?
She's saying a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
This makes no sense.
Just a runaround.
Yeah.
It makes
Yeah.
no sense.
I mean, I get... No, I don't get it.
no, you don't, because it makes no sense.
Because she's saying that she doesn't want to lose her friendship with him.
Right.
That's why she moved here. But you don't move towns for that.
Yeah.
You don't move towns, especially when he's in your city 5 days a week.
That's
Oh, yeah.
It makes no sense.
So I wanted to see him 2 days a week.
I only want to see him on the weekend. What are you
weird.
talking about?
I don't know. But the phone rings as Melanie lights up a smoke and Annie answers it. It's Mitch calling for Melanie. Melanie takes the call and Mitch apologizes for everything, with Melanie telling him that she isn't angry. That's when he invites her to Kathy's surprise party and Melanie agrees to attend. Annie sits there smoking, and when Melanie gets off the phone, she tells her that she'll be at the party too, helping out.
I just want to point out the fucking audacity of this man
Yeah.
to call Annie's house and ask for Melanie.
Not you.
Yeah. Well,
What are you doing, dude?
it's not
I'm
like
sorry.
she has a cell phone.
Listen,
But
I
still.
don't care. I don't care.
All right. I mean, I get it.
I don't
get it,
care.
He knows their history.
It's audacity. That's the
Yeah.
only.
She said
I'm
there
shook.
was nothing there.
Stop it.
I mean, you know what? I'm thinking maybe Lydia should be less pissed about these women and more pissed about her son just fucking flashing his
Yeah.
trash all over town. Because it seems like he's got a bad habit, right?
Mitch is
It
no
sounds
Sharon
like it.
Stone. Okay?
Mitch Brenner is no Sharon Stone. Nay.
I just can't. Are you stupid or are you just that ignorant? Like you pick one.
Both are bad.
Pick one.
Doesn't seem like he cares. He's
No,
just-
he doesn't.
And then this woman's coming to your house to help your mom for your
Yeah.
little sister's party. And you're like, no, but the new one, the
Yeah.
blonde one, are you coming? It's like, what?
It's unbelievable.
I just can't.
No.
I know I'm going to get probably made fun
yeah.
of for being so upset about this, but
in
it's
all-
so disrespectful.
In all
It
fairness,
is.
Mitch gets no shit for this.
No,
No.
that's what I'm saying.
But it's really fucked up. But Melanie says that she isn't sure that she should go to the party. And Annie's like, look, it comes down simply to, do you want to go? Melanie says yes. So Annie's like, go. Melanie thanks her. And then there's a loud knock at the door. Annie opens it to find a dead gull that is smashed into her front door. She says it probably got lost in the dark, but Melanie tells her that it isn't dark outside. In fact, there's a full moon.
And that made me laugh because we like have to sit in that moment for a minute.
Yeah.
But it's not dark. There's a full moon.
And they look at each
And
other
then we just sit there.
just suspicious for like 5 whole seconds.
Yeah. Again.
Yeah.
We
You're like,
didn't
you could
either.
have.
John Paul's like, that's 5 seconds that could have been cut.
Yeah.
I don't know why it made me laugh that it faded to black
Yeah.
and like think about that
we
shit.
had to sit in the moment.
One thing I do want to point out, I'm trying to keep my birds clear because there's gulls, there's crows, there's ravens. I also learned from looking it up
And-
that a titmouse is a bird, so I do apologize publicly to Nay for fucking roasting
Thank you very
her.
much. But what's funny is I was just like, all right, it's a
Yeah.
mouse.
Well,
I thought it was a mouse.
I just want to say it too easily could have been a mouse.
So we were both right. It's
There we
fine.
go. Yeah.
But mostly me. Go on.
Moving on. That next morning, we're at the birthday party and we see Melanie and Mitch walking together toward a secluded area overlooking everything.
I kind of laughed because I thought Annie was being cool as shit last night because she should have. I'm angry for her.
Right.
She should have been mad. But she was just like, do you like she was being a good friend, even though they're
Yeah.
not friends. But I laughed because she could have given Melanie a new outfit.
Yeah.
She wears this like green 3-piece
Yeah.
situation the entire film.
It's like Marge with that Chanel suit. It's like she's going to cut the sleeves off
Yeah.
tomorrow.
She's like, we cool, but we not that cool. You're not gonna be
no.
wearing my clothes.
Well, it made me laugh because she showed her like a shitty gown or whatever she bought at the...
Yeah.
To sleep in.
Yeah, and Annie was like, look, you can have some brandy, but you can't use any of mine.
Yeah.
But Mitch gestures to the hillside, which I'm certain is a matte painting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There are times where you're not sure, but this one I am sure. But they toast each other with wine, and Mitch asks why she has to head back to San Francisco in such a hurry. She says she has to get to work, which surprises Mitch. As it turns out, she has several jobs, one at a traveler's agency, one studying general semantics at Berkeley, finding new 4-letter words.
Sure.
I'm like, is this a joke or is
Can
it?
I take that class?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Please.
But the last one she just refers to as her meeting and lunch. I was like, really, only one of these is a job. Lunch is not a job. If it was, I'd be making 6 figures. But she says that the meeting is basically a fundraiser to send a Korean child through school. I was like, all right.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. She doesn't elaborate at all.
Well, nor should she, because it's none of his fucking business.
In all fairness, do we hate Mitch now?
I don't like Mitch. I'm arriving at this as we're sitting here because he takes every opportunity to insult her.
He does.
Or to be like, come on now. Like, I know
Well-
she's a trickster, but if you think that lowly of her that you're like, you have a job. It's like, why are you begging her to stay?
Right.
Why are you trying to make fetch happen when you're being very rude?
Right.
And he shouldn't have been calling fucking Annie's house
Nay.
trying to get in another woman's pants. I don't
All
like
right,
it.
all right.
I don't like it.
It's like, is your cute friend there? What the fuck?
I don't appreciate it.
No, it's not good. But she then tells him that when she was in Rome, it was so easy to get lost, so she decided to find something when she got back to the States. Going through her schedule, Mitch finds out that her Fridays are always free, but she admits that she sometimes goes to bird shops on Fridays.
Cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says that he's glad that she does.
All right, Mitch. That was decent.
Yeah.
You'll allow it.
One.
He is a lawyer. But she then tells him about the mynah bird that she ordered for her aunt Tessa, who is a super posh type. She reminds him that those birds can talk and asks if he can imagine Aunt Tessa's face when she hears the bird say some of the words she picked up at Berkeley. So,
Well,
Yeah.
is it profanity that she's learning in school? Like, what's going on? And is she just going to be staying up all night? She's like, all right, now say, fuck Aunt Tessa.
Yeah.
Well, don't say Aunt because she'll know it was me.
Yeah.
But Mitch tells her that she needs a mother's care, and things suddenly grow cold. She turns away from him and says, not my mother's. She says her mother ditched her family when she was 11 and ran off with some hotel man in the East. He asked if she ever sees her mother, and she says that she doesn't even know where she is. Then she facetiously says that she should go join the other children, and she and Mitch go and rejoin the party.
I feel like these people all have these really elaborate stories
Yeah.
for kind of no reason.
I think there's a payoff to this moment later, but it's very elaborate.
Yeah.
Because
A hotel man from there. I'm like, what are you?
yeah.
All right.
And I don't know what Aunt Tessa has to do with anything.
Not a goddamn thing.
No.
Because we've already established that she's rich.
Right.
All that shit. It could have just been her bird.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. But Annie, while blindfolding Kathy for a game, watches Mitch and Melanie almost longingly.
Yeah.
Because she wants Mitch. She can say all up and down all day long. Oh, I just want to be his friend.
Right.
No, stop.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
But Lydia comes out of the house with the birthday cake, watching them too and looking incredibly pissed off. A child points out a bird approaching fast, and it very quickly swoops down and hits Kathy in the head.
And Kathy's like, no
Yeah.
touching.
Yeah. I guess the bird was delicate. I don't
Yeah.
know. It fucking pecked like right at her. But before they know it, the entire party is swarmed by attacking birds. The children scream, hide, and run for cover. Birds fly through the balloons, popping them with their beaks, and one kid is basically tackled to the ground by a bird.
No, they take him down, dude. I read that they taped the bird's mouth closed
Yes.
and put needles in their beak so that they would pop the balloons.
Oh my
All
God.
right.
Yeah. And then one bird flew away with its mouth or beak
Oh, wow.
taped shut. And so they spent a huge chunk of time looking for it because obviously it's going to die
Right.
because you taped its beak shut.
Right.
But the bird was fine. They did end up finding it. But
All right.
don't be doing that.
No.
I did read that the ASPCA was on set the entire time. I can't imagine them signing off on that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, tape it shut. I don't give a shit.
It's fine. Just don't
Yeah.
let him get away.
No, then
Yeah. Then it's a problem.
Then we have problems. But Annie cries to the others to help her get the children in the house. Mitch slaps the shit out of a bird that's attacking a little girl and scoops the girl up and carries her into the house. Melanie uses her green, very worn jacket
Yes.
Yeah.
to frighten a bird off the back of another little girl and snatches her up as well. The birds circle around the party in a frenzy as everyone rushes inside the house. As soon as the last people head inside, the birds just scatter. So I read on IMDb that they trained over 3,200 birds for this film.
Damn.
And I know I said that some of them were mechanical, but
Right.
there's a lot of shots where there's no way that they could be mechanical.
Yeah.
Right.
They have to be real birds. And I guess one of them was when dude got away.
Yeah.
But there was a guy called Ray Berwick, and he was responsible for training like the majority, if not all, of these birds. And they used a bunch of different methods to get the birds to do what they wanted them to do.
Right.
One of them was like when they attacked Kathy, they put birdseed in Veronica Cartwright's hair. And so he was just hungry.
Go get it.
Right.
Yeah. And the way that they get them to appear like they're attacking the camera is they put meat in the camera lens.
Oh, shit.
And so the birds
It
just
works.
go for it.
Yeah, it works.
But they did say that there were a lot of bird related injuries.
Yeah, I
think?
bet.
And so also birds got injured too.
Oh no.
And so they built like an aviary that was like a pet hospital.
Damn.
Yeah, on set.
Okay, if you have to build a pet hospital
Yeah,
for the
that's
amount
a
of
lot.
animals getting hurt on
Yeah.
your film,
Maybe we should take a step back.
we should rethink things.
But Annie looks out to the birds and remarks, "That makes 3 times." Melanie steps outside with Mitch now that the birds are gone, and she's like, "Now this isn't like normal Bodega Bay shit, is it?"
Yeah.
But she recounts all 3 incidents, and after telling him what happened with the bird last night at Annie's house, since he wasn't there for it, she's like, "What is happening?" He says he'd feel better if she stayed and had something to eat before heading back to San Francisco. And the 2 girls who are getting their asses pecked to hell just stand between them, staring up at the sky in fear. That night, Mitch is portioning out sandwiches when Kathy walks in with a pot of coffee asking where Annie is. Mitch says that she went back home to take a call from her sister, and we can hear the lovebirds chirping noisily in the cage.
Yeah.
Kathy's like, "What's wrong with him?" Lydia's like, "What's wrong with all the birds?"
I'm sorry, I'd be letting them outside.
Yeah. Join
There's
your people.
something going on.
Yeah. I don't trust you this close.
Right.
But they just throw like a sheet over the cage. It's like sleep tight.
Go to sleep.
Yeah, we're done. Lydia tells Mitch to make with the grub because she's sure that Melanie wants to hit the road. Kathy asks Melanie to stay the night, and Lydia's face is like, "Stedman Graham, if you fuck this up for me."
She's like, eat and get your
Yeah.
ass
Yeah.
out of here.
Mitch adds that the roads can be dangerous at night, but Melanie insists on taking the freeway because it would make things easier. Lydia's like, yeah, the freeway.
Yeah.
It's quicker too. But the lovebirds suddenly stop chirping, and Melanie notices a solitary sparrow on the ground inside. Melanie calls out to Mitch in concern, and suddenly dozens of birds explode from out of the chimney.
What in the Harry
Yeah.
Potter is going on? What the fuck,
I
dude?
don't know. Look, there are parts of this movie that I remember. This was not one of them.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
The group just cowers from them, and Mitch snaps into action. He yells for them to cover their faces and their eyes and opens up a window and throws the coffee table over the fireplace. As they screech violently, Melanie grabs Lydia and Kathy and takes them outside, with Mitch following close behind. So the funny thing about them shooting the scene is that Tippi Hedren said when they got the birds through the chimney, they were super chill. And
Did it piss him off?
it pissed off the filmmakers.
Yeah.
They're like, "Go nuts.
Yeah, right.
What are you doing?" But they would just walk around, hang out at the fireplace. And so all of these birds were that sodium matte.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There were no birds in this scene.
Holy
Man.
shit.
Yeah,
And-
it looks good.
It
Yeah.
does.
The way it's shot, it's so funny to think they're just reacting to nothing.
Yeah.
But then again, isn't that every goddamn Marvel movie?
Yeah.
I mean, that's true. I read that Hitchcock would, when there weren't actual birds around and they were supposed to be reacting to birds, he would have a drummer come out and do the
Yes.
fast drum.
There's
And-
one scene in particular where he utilizes it, and it's a lot.
I was going to say, I wonder if he did it in this scene because there's nothing there, because it is very frantic.
Yeah, there's no way that you can know how scared you're supposed to be.
No.
That makes sense though, because I was like, why is nobody trying to hurt these birds?
They're just
I
like,
don't know.
oh shit.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
just like, oh, get away. Oh, are you kidding? Hit one of them, something. Clomp their heads together.
It's fucking Three Stooges.
Yeah.
But the scene dissolves into later that evening with everyone back inside the house, along with Deputy Al Malone, played by Malcolm Atterbury. Al picks up a dead bird and remarks, "Yeah, that's a sparrow, all right."
Get the fuck out of my house.
Thanks for stopping.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I would have been pissed.
Yeah. He actually blames them, though.
Yeah.
He says that they had the light on. I'm like, are they moths? I didn't fucking
Yes,
know birds
yes.
did that.
I didn't know we were supposed to have all the lights out.
No,
No shit.
nobody told me. But Mitch is over it, and he says that they have to do something about this, while Lydia picks up a broken teacup. Al's like, look, birds, man. They get inside, they panic, it happens. Lydia urges Mitch to tell Al what happened at the party, so Mitch explains what happened with the seagulls, and also adds that Melanie was attacked by a gull in the boat. Al, who I think is in the pocket of Big Bird,
Yeah.
he's like, well, were the kids fucking with the birds? Or Lydia's like,
did.
the kids were playing and the gulls attacked. He's like, they were fucking with the birds.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like the birds I know.
Not at all. But Lydia disagrees and continues cleaning up. Al suggests that they put a screen on top of their chimney and offers to help, but Mitch declines. We see Lydia in the background straightening a painting of her deceased husband, and when she does, a dead bird falls off of it and she gasps. Melanie takes Kathy up to bed and offers to stay, which Mitch agrees that she should. He shows Al out, who calls the whole incident peculiar.
I love that Melanie's just part of this family now.
Yeah, she's
Because
just
they
there.
were attacked by birds.
It's funny to me because I don't know that anything would have happened with Mitch if the birds didn't start attacking.
No.
Yeah.
Like, this is the luckiest.
She'd be back in San Francisco.
Yeah. And he would probably start dating another lady.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
Flashing that trash. But the next morning, Melanie puts on lipstick in the mirror in her nightgown while Mitch tends to the grounds outside. She overhears Melanie saying that she's going to take Kathy to school and then go check on Mr. Fawcett and his farm. They speed off in a truck and Melanie continues to get ready. So there is a deleted scene here that was kind of a featurette on the Blu-ray that I watched. Mm-hmm. And it's basically Melanie going outside to talk to Mitch as he's like cleaning all the dead birds off the property.
I can kind of see that because later they're just standing outside at the
Yeah.
beginning of another scene and it's like, okay,
Oh, yeah,
I
they're
guess
out
they
here
were
now.
hanging out.
Yeah, so it's odd that they cut that and left so much other stuff in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like
I wonder what, I'll revisit it in a second, but things move very quickly in a minute. And I wonder if there was some like building on their relationship in that scene that got deleted.
I think it
Because-
must have been. They had on the thing, it was the script and production stills because the footage of it is gone forever. Nobody knows.
Oh,
wow.
And so, I mean, maybe that's why they deleted it.
Well,
Can you find the footage? Oh,
like,
shit.
oh shit. We don't need it.
Tell
It's
Hitch we
fine.
don't need it.
Yeah.
But later we see Lydia arrive at the Fawcett farm asking a farmhand if he's seen Mr. Fawcett. The man says that he hasn't seen him this morning, but he should be here. Lydia heads off to the house and knocks on the door. Getting no response, she heads inside, calling out for him. In her search, she finds an entire row of shattered teacups, like the one that she cleaned up.
It's like super ominous.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She ventures in further and in silence, making her way down a hall. At the end of the hall, she finds a bedroom in complete disarray, complete with shattered windows and filled with dead birds. But when she looks down at the floor, she sees 2 feet covered in blood. She looks up to see Dan Fawcett's corpse sat in the corner with each quick cut inching closer to his face, and we see 2 eyeless sockets pouring blood.
Any violence, I know Melanie was bleeding earlier, but it's all been very tame.
Yeah.
And so to ratchet it up from a couple scrapes to fucking an eyeless, bloody face staring at you, that was jarring.
It shocked the shit out of me.
It looked good,
It
though.
looked
It did.
great.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that.
Not in this film.
No.
I just thought he was going to be
No.
just face down or maybe just show the feet
I
and be
was
done.
gonna say
Yeah.
when she was appalled and all we saw was the feet, I was like, oh, I guess the farmer got.
Yeah.
I thought that was it.
Yeah.
And then not only do we see him, we fucking zoom in.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Like,
Oh, I love it.
yes.
I love this a lot. They said Hitchcock wanted to shoot it in such a way that with each cut, it's where your eyes would go naturally. So you discover his legs.
Yeah.
And then you look up, you see him. You look close, you see his face, and then you see his eyes. And
Yeah.
it's so well done.
And you do the bender.
Yeah.
Because, yeah,
Yeah.
it's chilling. It's like genuinely chilling.
It is. And this is when I was like, okay, so I guess the rom-com's over.
Yeah. This is a new movie now.
Yeah. You know what? It's almost kind of like Audition in a way.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
False sense of security. This ain't a love story.
Not no mo.
But Lydia drops her purse and runs out of the house breathlessly. She stops at the farmhand but doesn't tell him anything, instead hopping back into her truck and pulling away. He doesn't ask her anything either.
Yeah.
No, wouldn't you be like, what happened? Or
Yeah,
is
what's
he
going
okay?
on?
Yeah. He's like, I scooped his eyes out.
Did you see
that
what I
shit?
did?
But in a wide shot, we see her speeding down the road, a trail of dust behind her.
I watched an interview with Alfred Hitchcock on YouTube, and he had said that on her way to the farm, that shot, he ordered all the dirt to be wet down so that it wouldn't fly up. And then on her way out, he wanted that, giant trail of dust and dirt to kind of speak to how frantic she is. And I was like, I never even would have, of course you notice it trailing behind her because it's very striking. But the fact that he was like, I don't want that on the way there. I only want that. I thought that was really super interesting because it works very well.
He said it was an emotional truck.
He did call it an emotional truck. He did.
The way he thinks film-wise.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Film-wise specifically.
Is very interesting. And there's a lot to be learned from it because he really, whenever they said he was helping cut this film with the editor, he would watch sequences and he'd be like, cut 2 frames from that shot, cut 1 frame from that shot. He had
an eye.
Particular and specific. Almost, there's one scene where he almost pulls a fucking Kubrick, but I guess it'd be Kubrick pulling a
him.
Hitchcock, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Okay.
It's going to piss you off. But once Lydia arrives home, she spills out of the truck sobbing.
This is when they're just chilling in the yard and she's in her fur and her nightgown. And I'm like,
wait, what?
Can we talk about what was going on here?
Mitch and Melanie rush over to her asking what's wrong, but she pushes past them and runs inside the house. We fade into another scene a while later with Mitch putting on his coat, telling Melanie that Al called and wants him over at the faucet place. I'm not sure why.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
He's not the detective.
No. I guess Lydia's just a woman, so he needs another man to confirm. Are these eyes really pecked out? Okay.
Okay, cool. I'll write it. I'll put it in my
So
notes.
stupid.
I didn't understand that.
None of this had anything to do with Mitch.
Maybe if they were telling him, "Hey, bring your mom back over here."
Yeah.
But why him? He wasn't even there.
He can't confirm anything. That's a dead man.
Thanks, Mitch.
But I feel like you knew that. But Mitch asks if Melanie will be all right, and she says that she will as she makes Lydia a cup of tea. He leans in and kind of sniffs her hair a little.
He kisses the back of her neck.
Is that what happened?
That's what happened. I was like, we're at back of the neck kisses now? That's what I want to know. What happened outside?
He's like, the world's into baby.
That was the same thing I wrote. I was like, what just happened?
What is
because you guys move really fast.
We were mad at each other yesterday. I don't get it.
But then they embrace with Melanie telling him to be careful.
Yes.
They cling to each other as they walk to the front door, and he tells her to be careful as well, and they share a kiss before he leaves.
They kiss.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sure, man. Annie's somewhere pissed the fuck off.
Yeah.
She feels it. She knows.
But Melanie returns to the tea, bringing it into Lydia's bedroom. Lydia thanks her for the tea and asks where Mitch went. She tells her that Al wanted him at the Fawcett farm and says Al also sent for the Santa Rosa police. Then it hits Lydia. Is Kathy all right at the school? Melanie tries to set her mind at ease, but Lydia says that she keeps seeing Dan's face and is worried about all the windows at the school, considering all the windows at the Fawcett house were broken.
Fair.
Yeah. Lydia says that she wishes she were stronger and that her husband gave her strength, but now that he's passed away, all that strength is gone and she's all alone. She asks again if Melanie thinks Kathy is all right, and Melanie reminds her that Annie's there too and that she'll be just fine. Lydia says her husband also related to the children better than she ever could, and she wishes she was able to be like him. She sips her tea and says that she misses him. She says sometimes she thinks that he's still here, even getting up to make him breakfast in the morning, and then she remembers.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
It really is. She says that Kathy is a child and Mitch has his own life now, but she's glad that he stayed here today because he makes her feel safer. So this whole time you think of her as this like single-minded jerk,
Yeah.
but she's really going through it.
She always looks worried.
Yeah.
She does. She's
And-
got reason to.
Yeah. Even before, though, even when it was just about Mitch dating.
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciated this because, like you said, we get a lot more, like Lydia's a lot more fleshed out here because her relationship with her son is like very weird to me. Like it's almost like her husband died 4 years ago, but Mitch would have still been an adult. And he had to step up and like be husband junior. I don't know. It's very odd.
Well, they are running an entire farm.
Okay.
I've never run a farm. I don't know what anything about that means.
He talks to his mom really weird throughout the movie.
He does.
And I always just call my mom.
Same.
No,
or
he's
mother
dear and darling.
Yeah.
It's strange.
You would think that she would be calling him those things.
Yeah.
Exactly. And even Annie was like, no, it's not an Oedipus situation. But like the fact that you brought up Oedipus at all
Pretty
when
fucked up.
y'all have a really weird, y'all are weird.
Yeah.
Like, y'all are weird.
I do want to point out that there were theories online that her seeing Dan's eyeless corpse triggered thoughts of Oedipus with how that ends.
Oh,
And-
yeah, because Oedipus is like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
nuh-uh.
I don't want to see that shit. and so that's why they think that in this scene she's kind of easing up because she's like, is that where I'm leading?
I need to
fuck.
chill. I need to chill. But I think this at least is like, okay, you're scared.
Yeah.
And that's why you're kind of clinging on to your son a little
Right.
bit. Because I was side-eyeing y'all
Yeah.
this whole movie,
Yeah.
to be honest.
And it's funny because Annie told us all this already,
Yeah. But hearing
but
it,
it's
yeah.
different because hearing her say it, it humanizes her.
And her,
Oh, yeah.
You know?
and her being softer in this moment because she's very like, nah, bitch, eat your food and get the fuck out of my house.
When are you going back to San Francisco?
But I also read that Hitchcock, when they first did this, told Tippi Hedren to be bitchy.
Really?
And then they reshot it and he was like, no, be more sympathetic. Can you imagine this scene? If she's crying and she's like, oh, my husband, my son. And okay, man, drink your tea, old bitch. Like, what did he have her doing?
Kathy's fine. Shut the fuck up. Like, good Lord.
I also think it's really well written because Lydia's having like this stream of consciousness situation and she keeps going back to, do you think Kathy's okay? And then we'll talk to about something else for a minute. But do you think Kathy's okay? Because she's just dwelling on it. And it's so, like, who wouldn't be? You know what I mean? Who wouldn't be thinking about that and worried about their kid?
Right.
I think that's one thing I want to point out is that the dialogue in this film is great.
It is.
They do this thing that I love that I noticed it in a lot of Twilight Zone episodes as well, where lines feed into each other. It's like a Tarantino. He probably got that from this. Because, I mean, whenever you have, it's almost like a puzzle where one word in a line triggers a thought to the other character.
Yeah.
Right.
And they may even use that word in their next line. It's poetry.
It's just, it's good writing. It's just well written.
I miss it. But Lydia tells Melanie that she wants to understand her because it seems like Mitch likes her a lot and she doesn't even know how to feel about the whole thing. She says she doesn't know if she even likes her, but since Mitch is important to her, she wants to like the girl that he ends up with. Melanie asks, what if you don't? And Lydia says it wouldn't matter to anyone but me because Mitch has always done whatever he wanted. It's like, God damn.
Flashing his trash.
Yeah, flashing that trash. It can't be stopped. But with her voice breaking, she admits that she doesn't want to be left alone. Melanie comforts her and says that she should try to get some sleep.
What did you do in the first take?
Yeah.
Throw the tea in her face?
Yeah. Just scalded her. Hitchcock's like, that's too much.
That doesn't work.
Try it without the tea.
He's just Emperor Palpatine now.
I don't know what's going on. So then she does it well, and he's like, yes. Yes. But Lydia repeats that she wishes she was stronger and asks again if Kathy is all right at the school. Melanie, to kind of, set her mind at ease fully, offers to go and check in on Kathy at the school. Lydia thanks her and then tries to fall asleep.
I know that Annie is the teacher and like we know her or whatever,
Yeah.
but you could just go and get any kid.
Yeah, she has no relation to this girl.
Not at
thought
all.
that too.
We just met yesterday.
Yeah, I had to go across town to learn her name.
Yeah. Right? You're still in the same clothes and shit. What the hell?
I'm not letting this child go with you.
Is this lady a ghost? But in the next scene, we see Melanie arriving at the Bodega Bay school and parking outside. She hears the kids singing together as she heads inside.
Those kids are fucking
Yeah.
tearing it up.
It's unbelievable. And if you've ever seen this film, I dare you not to have this song stuck in your head for 15 fucking years.
No.
Yeah. Dude, it's unbelievable. And there's something that comes up later that I'll explain because it's so ridiculous involving that song. But when Melanie gets into the classroom, she sees Annie leading the group in song and decides to head outside to wait.
When you wait inside,
Yeah, there was a little room.
you know they were allowed to smoke in that fucking school.
Yeah.
You didn't
Oh,
have to go outside.
And birds are outside, man.
Exactly.
But as she waits, she hears the kids still tearing it up, just a little fainter. She walks over to the playground and sits at a bench. Behind her, and unbeknownst to her, a single crow flies down and onto the jungle gym. She lights a cigarette and begins to smoke. We then get another shot of the jungle gym and see that 3 other crows have joined the party.
Wouldn't your head be on a swivel?
Oh, yeah.
It's birds, man.
That's
Like, you
what I'm
know what it is.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. But we cut back and forth between shots of Melanie patiently waiting and smoking her cigarette and shots of a few more crows joining the jungle gym. As Melanie grows impatient, she sees a solitary crow in the sky and follows it to see it landing on the jungle gym, now completely filled with a murder of crows, with crows also lining the surrounding building and fence.
It looks fucking creepy.
Yeah.
It's horrifying. They got me afraid of birds.
Yeah.
They've done
You
it.
did it.
The funny thing is that most of these birds are just models, but they interspersed it because Veronica Cartwright, she said, I asked a lot of questions as a kid, especially on set with Alfred Hitchcock.
Right.
Well, yeah.
She said, I was like, aren't those birds just going to look fake? And he told her, no, which is like, you're fired.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. But he's like, if you intersperse all these fake birds with a couple of real ones,
Yeah.
your eyes will be drawn to the real ones.
That's true.
And he's right.
All you need is a couple.
This is getting out of hand. But I just love the suspense of this sequence.
Well, because you know where it's going and you know what's going to happen, but it still happens so gradually. And then we have the willity fucking just tearing it up in the background. It's
They're saying now, like turn around now.
Yeah.
It's a great scene.
Yeah. And the funny thing about the song is that the song is public domain, and so they used it for free, but the song wasn't long enough for this sequence. And so
They're like, back to the beginning.
Evan Hunter had to write verses
Oh my God.
for this song, and he says that he still gets royalty checks for it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Good for him.
So, I mean, he lucked out. But the thing is that it's because that one shot of Melanie on the bench after the couple of birds, where we don't cut back to the birds for a while, that's what made it so long, because it's waiting there. I'm expecting to see 10 birds.
Yeah.
And when she follows that bird, she's like, fuck, it's one bird. And
No, it's not.
No, it isn't, ma'am. But Melanie slowly rises out of her seat. While she keeps her eyes on the crows, she slowly makes her way back to the school. She hears the children stop singing, and Annie tells them as soon as they all settle, they can head outside for recess. I laugh because the birds are probably licking their chops and like, yeah. Recess.
Let him come out and play.
Their recess is our lunch. But Annie opens the door that leads to the playground, and Melanie rushes inside, urging her to close it. She does, and Melanie takes her to the window, saying they need to get all the children out of the school.
Why?
Yeah, when you stay inside,
Right.
go to a room with no windows. There has to be
Or in the hallway.
But the gym or a hallway.
Yeah, or a hallway. Close all the doors to the classrooms.
No, let's go to their house.
Yeah.
That's the bird's house is outside.
Yeah.
Well, if they don't leave, we don't get the next set piece, guys.
Yeah.
We gotta.
I mean, they had no choice. But Annie quiets the children, staging a mock fire drill and telling the kids who live nearby to go home and the rest to go down to the hotel. I laugh because everything Annie says, the kids are like, what the fuck? She's like, you guys need to be quiet. Quiet?
Yeah.
This is bullshit.
Yeah. One kid broke their ruler. But she tells them to go quietly and not make a sound until she tells them to run. We get a long shot of the crows waiting, possibly feeling a bit peckish.
I see what you did.
You got it, yeah. But suddenly they all scatter, and we see Melanie and Annie with the group of school children running their asses off down the street.
Just be cool, man.
Yeah. Weren't you creeping back? tell the kids to creep.
Yeah.
She's like, fucking yeah.
As soon as you got outside.
Damn. But we see the birds chasing them, some landing on kids and pecking away. Honestly, coming back for seconds because some of those kids were at the party.
Yeah.
Those kids were like, God damn it. But in the frantic scene, some of the kids are bloodied. One kid gets fucked up behind a tree. And suddenly one girl falls to the ground calling out for Kathy's help. We get a shot of her.
What is Kathy gonna do?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. Her glasses fall on the ground and shatter as well. It's a scene.
It's insult to injury.
I did want to point out that they're all really running on a treadmill.
All right.
Oh.
And everything going on around them is that mat stuff.
All right.
Well, this is the one that I knew about them using the drum.
Right.
That's why I'm like, did he do it every time that they had to pretend?
Now, they pretended for like 90% of it because some of these kids, this sounds just insane, but they tied the bird's feet to their collar of their shirt.
Oh, wow.
And so the bird, who has his beak taped shut also, is just freaking the fuck out.
Well, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You're
So-
taping my feet to what?
Yes.
Shutting your mouth.
Yeah.
It's like, I did not agree to this.
This is bullshit.
And then also some of the birds are just hand puppets.
Yeah.
And you can kind of tell on a couple of them,
Yeah.
but the shots are so frantic that it all just works.
Yeah, it's all so
Yeah.
fast.
But Kathy, to her credit, along with Melanie, rescue the girl from the birds and find refuge inside of an unlocked and parked car. That wasn't her car because she parked in front of the
Yeah.
school.
I thought it was.
So did
No.
I. I was like,
She-
did everybody just leave their car unlocked in
Well,
the
she
60s?
Yeah.
reaches to start it.
Yeah.
Like,
Why did you think you
Yeah, I was
could?
like, what the fuck was that?
I don't know.
It's like, oh, that's right. I'm stealing this car.
If she lies so much, maybe she convinced herself.
That's true.
No, this is
I
yours.
thought this was
Oh.
my car. But Melanie honks the horn to cause the birds to disperse, which they finally do. She then rests her head on the wheel in just total exhaustion.
It's their only weakness, huh? Car horn.
Yeah.
Car horn.
Oh, shit.
They don't like it.
No.
So later at the Tides restaurant, Melanie calls her father to tell him what's happening in Bodega Bay. Deke leans in, totally eavesdropping, but her father doesn't seem to understand the gravity of the situation.
Dad, you better believe
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, she tries, she details the incident, what happened at the school, but just then, Mrs. Bundy, an elderly woman played by Ethel Griffiths, walks up to the bar next to Melanie. She tells Deke that she needs some change and overhears Melanie talking to her father, asking if there's a difference between crows and blackbirds. She's like, oh, there definitely is.
Thanks.
Thanks, lady. But she heads to the cigarette machine with her change, securing a pack of smokes as Melanie gets off the phone with her father. Mrs. Bundy approaches Melanie, expounding on the differences between crows and blackbirds, getting down to their scientific names and everything.
Yeah, she was dropping some knowledge.
Yeah.
And she knows bird law.
Yeah. If this shit,
Off the dome, too.
yeah. It's like, if this really happens, we're fucked.
Oh, yeah. But Melanie dials the number to Fawcett Farm. That's not a theme park. It's the that's funny. But Mrs. Bundy poo-poos the entire idea that any bird would have the intelligence to launch any kind of attack.
Bitch, I seen it.
Yeah.
Yes,
And birds are smart.
I
Yeah.
know. They
What
can
are you
talk. We
talking
said
about?
that.
We've covered this.
But Melanie does try to tell her what happened at the school, but Mrs. Bundy lets her know that she's actually an ornithologist. So leave it to the professionals,
So
honey.
shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She says that birds don't bring chaos. That's mankind. They make it harder for life to exist on this planet. I'm like, well, preach, yeah, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
still. Melanie is put on hold after asking to talk to Mitch, and Deke tries to explain again that there was an attack on the school.
Just to jump in really quick,
Uh-huh.
when she's like birds, whatever. Birds don't do bad shit. Humans do. In the background, the server's like, we need 3 fried chicken dinners. And I thought that was the fucking funniest shit in the world.
That's honestly brilliant.
It's so good. And the timing of it, I was like, that is hilarious.
Like, man, we are fucked up.
It's like so horrible.
But a random drunkard in the diner, played by Carl Swinson, just shouts out that it's the end of the world.
Waiting for it.
He was.
No, I was waiting for it. You were? I was like, he's got to be somewhere in this movie.
There's always one.
The Harbinger.
Yeah.
This whole scene, especially when that dude pipes up, it feels like a play.
It does.
Like big time.
There's so many characters in and out, working, talking. Again, those lines feeding into each other.
I think that's what it is. It's like plays.
Yeah,
like that's
is.
how plays are written, and the way it's just, we're talking to this guy, now this guy chimes in, now we're over here, now he's chiming in again. Like it's very, I don't know, I guess that just speaks to the writing again. But I liked it. I could have done 10 more minutes in this little restaurant.
It's funny because if you were thinking of where to cut, you'd be like, well, maybe some in the diner, but then you get to the diner, you're like, no, this is great.
I don't want to
Not
cut
in
this.
there.
Yeah,
I
like,
don't
love
want
this
any
so
of
much.
this cut.
But there's a hilarious moment when the drunkard quotes Ezekiel chapter 6 about God destroying the world and all the high places. And then Helen quotes a line about bringing woe to men who drink early in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Dude's like, it's the end of the world.
We're not talking about that
No,
part.
it's not about me. All right. And of course, he pounds a shot. But Mrs. Bundy says that she doesn't think a few birds equal the end of the world. Then Melanie tries to tell her that there were more than a few. Mr. Scholes, a fisherman played by Charles McGraw, speaks up, saying that last week a ton of seagulls wrecked some of his boats. Then a random mother played by Doreen Lang complains to Helen that all the bird talk is scaring the children, so Helen tells them to keep it down. Deke's like, dude, I'm scared too.
Yeah.
All right? I don't give a fuck about them. Fuck them kids. But Mrs. Brady tries to rationalize the entire thing, saying the gulls were probably after the fish. Melanie says at the school, she thinks the birds were after the children to kill them.
I laughed because the old lady's like, why? And she's like, to kill them? Like,
Like,
what
dude,
do you
I
want
don't
from
know.
me?
They don't have any bird seed in their pocket?
No shit.
The children are not fish. I don't know what to tell you.
Sorry to break it to you. But Mrs. Brady shoots it down, saying after 140 million years on this earth, now is a strange time for the birds to declare war on humanity. So I just want to point out, I love this interesting mishmash of science versus religion.
Yeah.
Because the real answer here is that sometimes weird shit just happens.
It just happens.
And to me, I feel like this had to be at least thought of when they wrote The Mist.
Absolutely.
It feels like it.
Maybe that's why I liked it so much. Is it does feel, and we talked about some of the stuff in The Mist feeling like a play as well.
Right.
Maybe that's why I like this so much. I'm like, oh shit, where's Mrs. Carmody?
Yeah, fuck. It's that concerned mother, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But a traveling salesman played by Joe Mantell sits at the bar and says Scholes should have just shot the birds. He says everyone should get guns and wipe them off the face of the earth.
I don't know about all
I
that.
know. God damn, dude.
I've never seen anyone so angry at birds before.
Birds.
I know I said the other dude was in the pocket of Big Bird, but I think this salesman is in the pocket of Big Worm.
Yeah.
But Mrs. Brady says that would be impossible with over 100 billion birds on the planet Earth. The drunkard reiterates, it's the end of the world. Scholes starts to rationalize as well as the mother tells her children to finish up so they can all leave this bird talk behind them. Mm-hmm. The mother's son is like, are the birds going to eat us, Mommy?
Yeah.
She's like, look what you've done to the kid.
Yeah, well, they're right there.
They are. It's fucked. But after Melanie says different types of birds were flocking together, Mrs. Brady calls it unimaginable. That's a little dramatic.
Yeah.
She says if that happened, they wouldn't have a chance. I was like, how powerful are birds?
Yeah.
She's like, we'd
fucked.
be fucked. But Sam, a cook played by Bill Quinn, comes out of the kitchen to see what's going on. Mrs. Brady tells him that they're fighting a war with birds. The mother gets all pissy, saying that they're scaring her children, and asks Mrs. Brady why she doesn't believe Melanie. She's like, what do you want them to do next? Crash into that window? And implores everyone to go home and lock their doors. She asks the quickest way to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But like, don't you live here?
Yeah.
That made me laugh. 'Cause
Yeah.
She's like, how do I leave?
Yeah.
I was like,
I
what?
wondered that too.
That's fair. She's like, I've only been here my whole life.
I've never left.
But the salesman thankfully offers to show her the way after he finishes his drink. Just then, Mitch and Al burst in. Mitch asks where Kathy is, and Melanie tells him that she's with Annie. Why wouldn't you all stay together?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
I
that's
got
another
nothing.
odd decision made.
Yeah, because she and Kathy were separated from Annie, so they would have had to regroup and then split up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I don't get it. And we know that Annie has a phone because asshole Mitch called Melanie on it.
You're never going to let that go.
If she went to the restaurant to use the phone, she could have just used Melanie. This makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. I think maybe child labor laws. That's the only thing.
She can't be in every scene, okay?
She's with Annie, guys. Come on. But Sam asks why they weren't at the school, and Al explains that they were at the Fawcett farm with Mitch spilling the entire beans that Dan Fawcett was murdered by birds. Al disagrees, saying it was a burglar that, I guess, ransacked his house, killed dozens of birds, and then pecked his eyes out.
Is he a Batman villain?
Yeah.
I just don't understand how this could even make any sense. But the salesman chimes in with a story from last year in Santa Cruz about birds kind of fucking up a town, and Mrs. Brady says that she remembers. Apparently, a flock of seagulls got lost in the fog and headed into the town where the lights were. Again, the moth theory.
Yeah.
But apparently they ruined a ton of buildings, and at the end of it all, nobody cared because they were gone the next morning.
That's all it takes. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Just
As long as you leave.
Just leave the next morning.
The damage was still there. I don't understand. But the mother has heard enough and rushes her children out after the salesman downs his drink. Mitch tries to reason with Mr. Scholes, saying that the birds are out there amassing and they'll be back sooner or later. Mrs. Brady stays talking shit in the background, so he literally pulls Scholes away.
Yeah.
He's like, we can't, this is too much. But he tells him that we need to do something. Scholes is honest and he says, look, I don't believe this, but I can help. He'll try. Mitch recalls the story told about the gulls getting lost in the fog, saying they could create their own fog like smoke bombs to confuse the birds. This is really feeling like The Mist. Again.
It is. It really is.
Them formulating their plans and
And
shit.
that old lady is definitely Norton.
Yes. She's like, hey, fuck. But just then, Melanie looks out the window where she sees gulls swooping down, attacking a gas station attendant across the street.
Oh, man.
Dude
Fuck
goes
him up.
down. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It's so funny.
But Mitch and several of the men rush outside as the mother and her children head back into the diner, and Melanie watches from the window. They see Mitch tending to the gas attendant, but the pump he was holding before the bird fucked him up, it leaks steadily into the street.
It goes everywhere.
It does. I was honestly waiting on a bird to strike a match.
Yeah. The bird pick it up, start spraying it everywhere.
But instead, a man clearly lacking a sense of smell steps out of his car.
Thank you. Thank you.
He's right near a pool of gasoline, and he lights up his cigar.
I was like, how do you not smell that?
Yeah.
It's pungent, man. But everyone is at the window, and they're screaming at him not to drop the match, which of course he does, exploding him into a ball of fire.
He's like, what?
Yeah.
Drop the match, you said?
All right.
But the trail of gasoline ignites as well, setting the pumps on fire. There is a hilarious couple, maybe 3-4 shots.
Oh, man.
Every single inch that the fire travels, we get a shot of Melanie reacting to it.
Yeah.
And it's like frozen stills. I don't understand what's going on.
I told your sister, I said, what the fuck was that? I was like, I don't understand.
He's like, we need more tippy.
Yeah.
But we then get a bird's eye view of the proceedings as the fused seagulls fly by, amassing and loudly heading for the town. But I do want to point something out here that actually surprised me a lot.
Uh-huh.
What we see, you see the fire traveling from the parking lot
Right.
to that gas station.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else was a matte painting.
Oh,
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell.
I
No.
couldn't either, but
Yeah.
I think I was just looking at the gas.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So if you were going to do it somewhere, that
yeah,
was the
it
place
was
to
right
do it.
there.
All the matte paintings were done by a guy called Albert Whitlock. And what they did was they kind of took the film and they sectioned out what parts they were keeping
Uh-huh.
and then left the other parts black. And
Wow.
so he had to draw on the like only copy that they had.
Oh, wow.
No
Yeah.
pressure.
No.
Yeah.
And it genuinely looks like it was just shot from above.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The houses, the boats, the water, all fake, all drawn.
Right, there you go, man. Don't fuck this
Yeah,
up.
seriously.
No. What was
This
that
is
laugh?
all we have.
Yeah. Hate to tell you that, but I was just amazed.
Yeah.
But all the people rush out of the diner with Melanie seeking shelter inside a phone booth. Melanie watches the area descend into further chaos.
I don't understand why Melanie went outside,
Yeah.
but
I don't know why any of them went outside.
but when I think of this movie, well, before I rewatched it now, but when you asked if somebody was like, "Oh, you know the birds," I would have thought of her in the phone booth.
Yes.
And so I was surprised when it does not last very long.
No.
Because I don't know why it really struck something. I don't know, I guess when I was a kid.
I don't know. There's just something about this scene that just is so iconic. I can see you remembering it being longer. You're
Yeah.
like, is this the movie Phone Booth with Colin Farrell? She spends the whole movie in the phone booth.
But yeah, I'm like, I guess this is the rest of the film. It's like,
Yeah,
no,
that's it.
it's not.
Somebody made an interesting point about saying that she is in the phone booth like a bird in a cage.
All right.
She's in a glass cage of emotion.
Yeah.
That is very fair.
See, I'm the other way. I thought this was too long.
In the phone booth?
The whole
Yeah.
scene or her in the phone booth?
No, the little scene
Okay,
here,
'cause
but
she's barely in the phone booth.
but yeah, this little scene, it was a bit much.
I mean, it's fucking chaos.
Yeah,
Well,
there's a lot going on.
A lot of shit happens.
There's a fucking horse and a carriage falling over.
When that happened, I was like, is she hallucinating? Like, why?
I mean, it's a lot.
Why is that happening?
The bird has the reins.
Yeah. Oh my God. But we see a man attacked by birds, crashing his car into the flames. Fire trucks arrive to put out the fire at the gas station. Gulls are keeping Melanie trapped in the booth the entire time, though. We do see that horse-drawn carriage just speeding down the street. And suddenly, a man with his face covered in blood bangs on the door of the phone booth as birds peck at him mercilessly. Melanie's like, oh, damn.
What do you want me to do?
What can she do?
Right, this is occupied.
Yeah. But the birds begin to crash against the booth, shattering the glass. Mitch comes to her rescue, rushing her back to the diner. Now, this entire phone booth scene shot on a set.
Oh,
All
wow.
right. Yeah,
Everything,
I couldn't tell.
yeah,
No.
everything around it is matte.
Nice.
Like it's fucking just insane
yeah,
that they're able to do this.
I couldn't tell at all.
One thing I did want to say about the phone booth that just hit me just now is her prank was ending up with smashing some glass,
Oh.
and that's all that's been happening to her.
Mitch is like, I'll see you in court.
To the birds. But once inside the diner, Mitch and Melanie walk together through the eerie silence, finding Helen and all the other women and children, including Mrs. Brady, like on the other side of the thing. A wall, I think they call it.
They were in the hallway. Yeah.
But out of nowhere, the mother blames Melanie for all the birds, saying it all started when she got here.
There's Mrs.
Yeah.
Carmody.
There you go. She calls Melanie evil, and Melanie slaps her across the face.
It was weak.
I thought of Clue when he's like, I had to stop her
Oh,
from
yeah.
screaming.
They said that Tippi Hedren did not want to slap this woman,
You can tell.
but she said, no, slap me or else I won't know what to do. Like, I won't know
What?
Right.
like performance-wise.
Well,
where
yeah.
Hitchcock is like, I'll do it.
That's why it's the shot.
Yeah,
With just the
it's just
hand.
the hand. I love how both of our Hitchcock impressions have just devolved into
They're nothing.
just a tired man.
A tired British man.
There we go. He was just fucking over it.
I hate us.
But the woman sobs, and nobody admonishes Melanie for hitting her.
Well,
Deke rushes in, saying he thinks that the birds are leaving, and Mitch says that they should use this window of time to get Kathy at Annie's house.
so these birds are just stirring up mess, ruining parties, setting half the city on fire, and then just leaving.
Yeah.
Like, it's so odd.
What's funny to me is that they just did it at the school. They fucked up the kids a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, guys, let's regroup. I'm like, what? They didn't even finish the job. But the remaining patrons watch the flocks fly away at the window. In the next scene, we see Mitch and Melanie arrive at the school. In a wide shot, we see the birds lining not only the roof, but the power lines overhead. Mitch and Melanie notice the birds as well and approach in silence. Melanie directs Mitch's attention to the playground, which again is filled with crows. Mitch is like, shh, you're going to get us killed.
Yeah. Just act like you don't see them.
Yeah, just keep walking. But they move cautiously past the school to Annie's house, where we see a few crows perched on her rooftop. The camera then pans across the open gate where we find Annie bloodied on the ground, dead.
She didn't deserve that.
Nope.
No. Now, this hurt me the most.
Yeah, well, it's not fair.
No.
I read, and I don't know if this is true, but it's according to, I mean, I don't know why she would lie, but Suzanne Plachette said that she wanted Annie's ear to be all chewed up and gross. And so Hitchcock told her yes. And she went to the props department and got an ear and everything. And then when he directed the scene, he had her lay on that ear.
Oh.
Wow.
So she said that it spoke to his sense of humor, but I thought it was just really rude. 'Cause
Yeah.
he made her go and get the ear.
Yeah.
That's not funny.
He's like, yes, that's a great idea.
We thought the ear was too much. But Mitch rushes over to check on her as Melanie sobs at the gate. That's when it hits her. Where's Kathy? We then see Kathy inside the house safely as she opens the drapes, silently sobbing as Mitch rushes to the front door. She comes out and the two embrace, walking into the street to Melanie. The crows begin to caw, and Mitch snags a rock and is ready to bludgeon these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Well, the birds are like, I thought that was your girl. Like, the birds are like talking shit.
Are they laughing at him? The chicken was laughing.
The chicken was laughing. And
Maybe it's just a bird thing.
Yeah.
They're rude.
But
Speaking of rude, he just could have told her no about the ear. Like, I'm still not over it.
that is a little much.
Yeah.
Rude.
But Melanie stops him from throwing the rock. He then takes off his coat and covers Annie with it. Melanie pleads with him to take her elsewhere and not to just leave her outside, so he takes her body inside. He then hands Melanie her purse, which was on the ground, which, like, you were still holding on to that?
Yeah.
But the three walk back to their car as quietly as they can as Kathy continues to cry in fear. As they get inside, Mitch puts the top up, which why was that ever down?
Yeah.
That's an excellent question.
That's how you were driving around?
Like, that's unbelievable. Your bird, they're from the sky.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this.
But how will people know that I'm cool?
Okay.
Oh, all right.
And that's a very fair point.
I have to put it down.
But they get in the car safely and pull away. Kathy tells them through sobs that after they took her friend home, they heard the explosion at the gas station, and then birds were just suddenly everywhere. Annie pushed her inside, and the birds just covered her, pecking her to death. This performance is great.
It is. Because
Yeah.
she's going through it, man. I don't understand, though. It's like it's a door. It's not a tunnel. Like, why couldn't have Annie gone in as well?
It's not like a pod with one. There's room for one.
She shoves her in and hits the button, and Kathy's like, no!
As she gets expelled into space.
Yeah.
And the xenomorph is also there.
It's a door. Annie, go.
Yeah.
Can we just allow Annie to be the hero that she is?
I mean, they gave her a hero's death, but I don't... It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
You know what should have happened? Mitch gets pecked to death.
I'm with you.
And then Annie and Melanie realize they love each other.
That's a movie.
I think we've done it.
That's the movie.
I think we cracked the
film.
code. They bonded over how much they hate Mitch.
And Kathy's like, yeah, he kind of was trash. And then they all move in with Lydia. Everybody's happy. It's great.
Did we just rewrite the movie and make it perfect?
Yes.
But later at the Brenner farm, Mitch and Melanie board up the windows of the house, keeping a watchful eye at the bay where the birds are gathering. Mitch notices a pattern. The birds attack, disappear, then start amassing again. He asks if Melanie wants to try to call her father again, but she says that the last time she did, the phone was dead. The two of them are then called inside by Lydia, who hears something on the radio. A man on the radio from San Francisco tells of the school attack as well as a couple of others, but admits that the news is a little sketchy. Then he just pivots to news from Washington.
No, I laughed because he's literally like, well, anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a huge deal that birds are just fucking murking people in this town.
We are in the middle of a birdemic. God damn it.
Right.
But Mitch is annoyed and goes to collect more wood for the fire to avoid any more sneaky-ass chimney attacks. Lydia double-checks all of Mitch's work, then suggests that, honestly, maybe they should just leave. And I don't know.
Yeah.
It's clear the birds want Bodega Bay for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Y'all can have it.
Yeah.
Mitch has a place in the city.
Yeah.
I
They
can't
can
with
go to his
y'all.
apartment. Hey,
I can't.
so does Melanie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There
Fucking
you
A,
go.
man. I don't think they're going to peck through. Just put the top up this time.
Step one. But Mitch disagrees, saying they're safe here for the time being.
There's a clear pattern.
Yeah.
They even said it on the fucking radio.
Yes.
They get crunk, then they chill out, then they do it again.
Yeah.
While they're in the chill phase, get your monkey asses out of there.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Don't sit and wait for them to get all keyed up again.
And you said it yourself, Mitch.
Mitch.
He's like, actually, since they're really calm right now, we should stay put.
Yeah.
It's like, what? What the
Make
fuck
it
are you
make
talking
sense.
about? But Lydia continues asking questions, getting a ton of I don't knows from Mitch, until she finally just blurts out, when will you know? When we're all dead?
Mom, please. Darling.
Yeah. Dear.
Calm down.
She makes it worse, though, finally shouting, I wish your father were here. But then she quickly apologizes for the outburst, and Mitch asks her to make herself some coffee, because coffee cures all.
Coffee does cure all, but like your mom is
No.
clearly having a moment. You could make her some coffee.
Yeah.
He's like, why don't you
get
go
in the
make
kitchen? She's like, what the fuck? He really is a piece of
Even
shit.
Melanie made her some tea and she doesn't even fucking know her.
I met her
She was
yesterday.
rude to her.
But Mitch and Melanie head outside to see a flock of birds heading off in the distance, possibly to Santa Rosa. Later, the group waits inside quietly with Mitch testing the barricades. Kathy asks if she can bring the lovebirds in the living room, and Lydia's like, are you out of your rabbit-ass mind?
Absolutely fucking not.
Mitch then goes to test the boards in the kitchen and eyes the lovebirds suspiciously.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know they're birds, but they're lovebirds, not fight birds.
Well, none of these birds are supposed to be fight birds.
That's fair.
Well, unless they're drinking fight milk.
Yeah. Hey,
So you can
fight
fight
like
a
a crow.
Yeah. See?
oh my God.
They knew.
But returning to the living room, Kathy asks why the birds are doing this. They have literally no idea or explanation. Lydia then walks over to tidy up the teacups and takes the tray into the kitchen. Everyone stares as she returns to her seat unharmed. Were we supposed to think the lovebirds were going to fuck her up in there?
Yeah.
I thought they were. The whole time I was waiting for something to happen.
Really?
Because she was gone for a while.
Because, yeah, she's gone for a long time and the birds have been like biding their time. They've been
Yeah.
like real unassuming the whole time.
Uh-huh.
Now you got her alone in the kitchen. Now's the time to strike. I mean, one of them picks the lock on the cage with their
Oh, wow.
beak.
All right.
See, it's their fault for building a beak-shaped flock. That's on them. That's a design
You're
flaw.
asking for it.
But Kathy starts to breathe heavily. Then she's like gagging, and Melanie follows her as she gets sick in the other room.
It's like, girl, you got bird flu or what?
Goddamn. She looks pale as a dove.
Yeah.
But
She got bird scratch fever.
it just it just made me think of you, since you said in any situation in horror
That
you
would be me.
throw up.
Throwing up.
That would be me.
But as soon as the two return, we hear birds chirping outside. The sound grows louder, and Kathy runs to the arms of her mother. Mitch feverishly adds more logs to the fire as Melanie cowers on the couch.
I feel like the birds are literally saying, like, y'all didn't leave.
Yeah,
You're
that's
still
your
here?
fault.
Yeah. No shit.
This was the scene that I knew of as well with the drummer on set.
Oh, okay.
Because honestly, this entire sequence like kind of plays out like a silent film.
It does.
But we then hear a crashing noise. Well, okay, I guess not a silent film.
Right.
But Mitch moves the drapes to reveal a gull is trying to smash its way in. He grabs this gull by the face and starts beating its ass. The ASPCA must not have been on set for this part.
No, they went to the restroom. The gull was like, here's
Yeah. Yeah, I thought he boarded up the window.
Yeah, what happened to that shit, man?
his mom was like, you're doing a really shitty job.
But we then get a shot of peck marks eating away at the barricades. Mitch tries to close the shutters, but his hand gets pecked bloody. He then turns off the lamp, remembering that birds are like moths, which we learned earlier.
Yeah.
Another bird smashes through, and he makes short work of him too. He then ties the window frame to the shutter, successfully closing it. He then sits Lydia and Kathy down into a chair like they're dolls or something.
Yeah, this was weird.
It was very odd because he goes to sit Melanie down as well, and there's an awkward, silent conversation.
Yeah.
He's like, oh no, I've got more things to do. But then he goes and bandages up his hand. He then turns to see the peck holes from the birds at the front door, with birds actually breaking through now. He places a giant wooden mirror over the door and nails it tight, but just then all the lights go out with the shrieking sound of a bird.
They cut the fucking power.
Is that the bird that chewed it?
Yeah.
He pecked the power line.
He's like, I've done it, guys.
Wait, we got the phone line? Turn
Done.
off the power. Yeah.
I want to say that this looks great with the entire scene being lit by the light of the fireplace. Mm-hmm. Also, the only thing that we hear being the sound of the shrieks and claws and everything of the birds, it sells the horror of the moment.
Because you're like immersed in it. Like my thing is, why didn't y'all get under beds, hide in closets? Like you're just like peck me, please. Like
Yeah.
I'm right here.
No weapons, no
Nope.
trying to fight, anything, just
I would have a fucking like frying pan.
Uh-huh.
anything.
The bird's natural enemy.
Oh, yeah.
Some flour. And
Have my whole breading station.
Yeah,
with
ready.
panko,
Yep.
got to
some
get your
seasoned
wet and
flour.
dry. But Mitch snags a flashlight and props it up in the living room. We hear the sound of the birds getting further and further away, with the group realizing that they are disappearing. We dissolve into a shot of the fireplace before revealing Lydia fast asleep in her chair. We pan over to find Melanie wide awake next to a sleeping Kathy before panning over to Mitch, who is also asleep in a chair. We hear the sound of wings, and Melanie tries to wake Mitch. When he doesn't stir, she grabs the flashlight and begins to investigate.
Girl.
Yeah.
Just stay here.
Yeah.
Or why don't you shake Mitch?
She's like, well,
Yeah,
I don't
I
want to disrupt his sleep.
I guess.
Wake him with my voice. I guess that's all I got.
Sleep is very important.
But she spies the lovebirds, who are still just super chill in their cage.
They're
Yeah.
like, why don't you go upstairs, Melanie?
Yeah. We heard there's a present up there for you. But she then approaches the staircase in silence, slowly making her way up. She reaches for the first door on the right, tension rising as she gently pushes it open. Inside, she spies a massive hole in the wall and gasps. She raises her flashlight to the bed to reveal the entire room is filled with birds.
Why'd you even go in there in the first place?
I don't know.
This isn't
I
even
don't-
your house. Like, let's really put it in perspective.
Yeah.
What are you
Even that,
doing? What are you doing?
You hear the feathers on the other side.
Uh-huh.
Why?
She's like, I bet.
Yeah, I wonder what that is.
Someone leave a TV on?
Yeah,
Or-
right?
I read that she literally asked Alfred Hitchcock, why am I doing this?
Uh-huh.
Do you want to know his reply?
I'd love it.
Because I told you to.
That's not
That's
reason.
not clear motivation for a
No.
character.
Wow.
She said, why would Melanie do this?
Yeah.
Because I told you to.
Wow.
That doesn't, that's
yeah.
not, I'm sorry.
No,
I know
right.
the man
Yeah.
is, a cinematic genius and whatnot and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
No goddamn sense.
Yeah.
No.
No sense at all. Melanie's not stupid. She's not a stupid kid.
Wow.
She's a bad liar.
Yeah.
She's not stupid.
Sometimes she's a great liar. But of course, the birds swarm, attacking her. We get frantic shots of the birds going apeshit, Melanie's flashlight waving through the dark room, her scratched, bloody face, and her hand reaching for the doorknob. It reminded me a lot of the scene from Psycho.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it does.
It's just the quick cuts in the editing. It makes it feel so just terrifying.
Yeah.
These were also, and again, she was promised that these would be mechanical birds in this scene.
Right.
But
That part.
the bird trainer came up to her like right before they were about to shoot.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, look, the way that we're going to shoot this, all the close-ups we're doing, there's no way we can use mechanical birds. So
Oh, wow.
we're using all real birds.
tied to her clothes with thread. Their feet tied to her clothes. So that they would fucking attack her. I don't
Why
know.
wouldn't you just throw fake birds at her like paper airplanes or something? So and then they're hitting her.
He wanted it to look real.
Yeah,
I
it
read
wouldn't
that
look
they
real on
did this
screen.
for a week straight.
Oh,
There-
man.
They said, I know, at least 5 days.
Jesus Christ.
And there is a moment I'll talk about in just a second. This is the part I was talking about that I said was going to piss you off about Hitchcock making her do this over and over. After he lied to her.
Yeah, and said that they were going to be fake. Because he told her about them being tied to her clothes, but she thought they were going to be fake.
All right.
The thing is that she has been on set this entire film. I believe it was a 75-day shoot.
Damn.
Watching all these people accidentally get fucked up by real birds.
Yeah.
And so she's got this thing in the back of her mind that's like, okay, well, at least when my scene comes,
Yeah,
they're
I'm
not going to
good.
be real. And they're like,
Psych.
by the way, they're all real, and they're pissed off.
See what happened to them?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
nothing. They're
Yeah.
mad at you specifically.
Yeah.
They've been drinking fight milk all morning.
Right, they're acting birds, right? Killer.
Sure, yeah. They're method acting birds. But Melanie tries to bat them away, but they peck at her endlessly as she cries out for Mitch and sinks to the floor, bloody all over.
I wouldn't say cried out.
Yeah.
It sounded a
very
little-
weak. I feel like
Yeah.
you scream to get people up here to help you
Yeah,
because she can't open the door.
Well, there is something I will point out that will explain that,
Okay.
but Melanie collapses, her body blocking the door as Mitch attempts to break in. He and Lydia grab for Melanie, barely able to drag her out as the birds peck at them in a cacophony of shrieks and feathers.
This is their room now.
Yeah, the birds,
Yeah.
like, they
Look
have
at
their,
me.
Yeah, no.
with their fucking wing, like, pointing at their eyes. But
Do you guys even know what birds do?
I don't know. I've never seen a bird in my life.
Do you guys know what birds are?
No, not at all. But they carry her downstairs and patch her up. So this is what I'm going to explain as far as her weak cries for Mitch and the way that she collapses to the floor. She actually suffered from exhaustion due to the 5 days of shooting this scene.
Oh, shit.
So when you see them carry her to the couch and you see her on the couch, this is a body double
Damn.
because Tippi Hedren was in the hospital.
That's bullshit, dude. They Shelley Duvalled her.
Yeah.
Or they Tippi Hedren
Yeah.
Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
So I mean, it's pretty fucked up, and goddamn.
I'm not gonna lie. I would be like, you got one fucking take, dude. Maybe two if I don't get fucked up. But you better make this one take work.
Yeah.
She couldn't
5
talk to,
days?
Yeah.
No,
She,
fuck
she
you,
couldn't talk
dude.
to Hitch like that. I saw
But you can.
I saw an interview.
I guess not with the
Like,
contract.
watch me do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I saw an interview with her that she had tried to get out of her contract, or she had done something that pissed him off. And he was like, if you do this, I'm going to ruin your career.
Yeah.
And the interviewer was like, well, did he? She's like, yes.
Oh, yeah.
He ruined my career.
That was, I think, after Marnie.
Yeah.
And he, I think, sold her contract to a studio. And then they were like, hey, we need you on set to do a TV series. She's like, what the
Yeah.
fuck are you talking about?
Oh my God.
Damn.
He was like
Yeah.
weird with, I read that because Melanie Griffith is her daughter, which
Yeah.
is insane.
And Dakota Johnson is her granddaughter.
Calm down.
Okay.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But that Melanie Griffith was like 6 years old, and Alfred Hitchcock gave her a doll that he had made of Tippi Hedren, of her mother, a very lifelike looking doll, dead in a coffin. And that Melanie
fuck?
Griffith was like fucked up about it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she's like 6.
Well, yeah,
A
yeah.
little girl. He's like, here you go, little one.
I thought she might enjoy this. But Melanie stirs awake, fighting against imaginary birds, and Mitch calms her. He gives her some brandy to drink and more, honestly, just pours it at her mouth.
Yeah.
But Lydia dabs Melanie's wounds, and Mitch suggests that they head to San Francisco to get Melanie to a hospital.
Oh, now
Yeah.
we should
Yeah.
leave. Okay.
When the birds have rested. So this is what I'm talking about, where if you get a wide shot, you'll notice her face is covered.
Wow. I mean, I know we're laughing because it's birds and birds seem really innocuous, but he really had her being attacked by animals literally for 5 days.
And the thing is, I mean, honestly, if because I know that a lot of people could probably watch this movie and be like, dude, birds aren't scary at all.
Yeah.
A swarm of anything.
Yeah.
Their nails are sharp.
They are. And their beaks are pointy.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't want to, like, if I see I've seen a vulture on a street one time.
Dude, vultures are fucking scary.
And I'm not fucking with that.
That's what I was going to say. Like a vulture or something like that.
When you see one in real life, and we live in
motherfuckers are big.
we live in Texas, so we've seen a few and they're huge and they look like they want you. Like, they're
like, this is just to tide us over. If we can get you.
Like, they have a hostile energy. They're very scary.
But they did do insert shots of close-ups of Tippi Hedren as you see her freaking out about the imaginary birds.
Yeah, because that's her.
That was all shot later. Lydia is worried because they don't know what's out there, but Mitch says they need to leave before another flock attacks.
I know what's out there.
It's fucking birds.
Birds are out there.
But Mitch gets up and slowly opens the front door. We see the dawn breaking, dimly illuminating their entire property covered in birds. Mitch quietly creeps through the birds toward Melanie's car as the wind howls. We get shots of the birds covering the trees, the porch, lining the roof. The entire property is pecked clean. A few birds peck at Mitch as he makes his way, but they don't draw attention to the others.
They're not even like, they're just like, move your fucking, don't be lingering over here.
This is our house now. I'm the captain. But Mitch sneaks into Melanie's car in the garage, turning on the radio, which his mother did request he do. An announcer says the bird attacks have subsided, with Bodega Bay being at the center of them. But the attacks are spreading to other towns. Bodega Bay has now been cornered off, with most of the townsfolk escaping, but a few people still remain.
A few idiots.
Yeah.
Like, did they really stay
Brenner.
inside?
Yeah.
They fucking name him. But the man says no decisions have been made regarding the next steps, but they haven't ruled out military intervention. They've noticed the pattern of attacks like Mitch has, but the reason behind it all still remains unclear. Mitch opens up the garage slowly, sneaking back into Melanie's car and starting the engine. He drives at a snail's pace to the front door, climbing out and heading back inside the house slowly. Lydia asks if he heard anything on the radio, but he doesn't give any details. Instead, they lift Melanie to her feet, assisting her to the front door as the group walks together. They open the front door, the morning light piercing them as they see the entire property filled with birds as far as the eye can see.
The tension here is thick.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot. I did have a little chuckle, though, because I thought of the episode of The Simpsons where Homer goes into the daycare center.
Yeah. Of course it comes back to The Simpsons.
Always.
But Melanie cries no at the sight, and they quiet her and carry on. We get these tense close-ups on their faces, as well as a few select groups of birds. The two women get into the car with Mitch returning to the house to retrieve Kathy. She asks if she can bring the lovebirds since they haven't hurt anyone.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
He carries the cage, easing it into the car with Kathy. Lydia holds Melanie and she clings to her arm. They look at each other, Lydia nestling her with a smile. So this is the payoff, the maternal figure she never had.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a beautiful moment if you think about it that way.
Yeah.
But Mitch gets into the car and the group slowly drives away. We get a shot of their car speeding away, their home, an entire town claimed by the birds as they remain perched in victory, shrieking and fluttering their wings.
They're like, and don't come back.
They're shaking their bird fists. The crazy thing I saw, this entire shot, according to Hitchcock, is 32 pieces of film spliced together in different sections.
Holy shit.
You've got some birds on the porch, that's one bit of film. You got birds in the trees, that's one bit of film. You got them driving down the road, that's another bit of film. You got the sun beaming from the clouds. Like, it is so much stuff spliced together. He said it was the most difficult shot of the entire film.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And again, you would never know.
No.
You would think that it's the matte painting of the background
Yeah.
and then them just driving away. But no, like they did that shit.
Yeah.
But I have to ask the customary question, what did you guys think of the birds?
Like I said, I the movie isn't bad. It was just a little slow. Why did the birds attack?
I think it's almost like we talked about with Halloween 2, where Yoblins was saying the theater of the mind.
Right.
It's scarier, I think, if you don't know. Because if you do know, you're like, well, then let's not fucking do that shit.
All right.
Or the lovebirds were evil
Oh, wow.
They controlled the whole thing.
and brought him. Bodega Bay was fine.
Oh, yeah.
Brought him there, and they're just sitting there eating their popcorn and watching everything. They didn't even get their feathers missing.
They're the leaders, man.
They're the leaders.
Oh. I did like the movie. I'm not gonna lie. It was slow. I feel like it was a little longer than it should have been, but I mean, it
Agreed.
wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad movie. Not my style, but it was okay. It was decent.
That's fair. I mean, I can see how it's, especially now, not for everyone.
Yeah.
But I can also see why it's a classic.
Right. No. Yeah.
So,
you can.
Yeah.
I like it. I think I like it even more now after talking about it than I did because I liked it already, but I think I have a deeper appreciation for it now. But there is a lot of why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Besides the fact that Hitchcock told you to, like,
Yeah.
a lot of the motivations don't make sense. And then we have this like weirdly specific story of where all these people came from and all their situations, and we get really no resolution to anything.
Yeah.
But I guess you can kind of make up your own ending in your mind. They get out or they don't. And I think I like joke about the lovebirds being evil or whatever, but the fact I don't think that he had it be a big deal of them bringing the birds with them if there wasn't something with those birds. I feel like Kathy would have just quietly been holding them and gotten in the car. But she's like, they haven't done anything. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe it could be down like to a simplistic theme in that love perseveres.
Maybe. Or since they're caged, because it was really only the loose birds.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
I mean, who knows?
you know how the saying goes, a caged bird rarely fucks you up.
A caged bird doesn't peck your eyes out.
But no, I think that's an interesting theory. I like this movie a lot, personally. I see why it's iconic and why it stood the test of time. I think it's very fun, and I love to watch the descent from that meet cute rom-com
For sure.
to basically the end of the world.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to point out is that there were 2 ideas for other endings for this film. The first one was an idea that Hitchcock, I think he told in an interview with Peter Bogdanovich, who we also talked about on It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
He told him that he initially wanted to end it with a shot of the Golden Gate Bridge fully covered in birds.
Oh,
Wow.
So they get to fucking city and civilization, and it's there
It
too.
doesn't matter.
It's like some Planet of the Apes shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't include that, at least we have some hope.
Yeah. The other ending that Evan Hunter wrote was they get into the car and they notice that there are peck marks in the hood, the lid.
The birds driving
Yeah.
the car.
But they...
The tires are just birds.
Yeah.
That's fucking ridiculous. But they basically have another little attack from the birds on their way out of town.
Yeah.
God damn.
But then I think they do make it. The issue was it was going to be it was a bird attack with a moving car.
That's a lot.
He said it would have taken so much more time for Hitchcock to shoot it.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So literally what I read is that he just cut the last 10 pages from the script.
Holy shit.
Damn.
And so that's the ending
So that's
we get.
why we're
Yeah.
kind of like, what happened?
Yeah. And personally, I think the ending, I like the ambiguity
Yeah.
because it's like, well, if they get to San Francisco, are they safe?
Yeah.
I don't know. But no, I really like this movie. And there's this ability to have so many readings of the film. You can either see it as almost like a thing about nature, almost like an environmental message.
Right.
You can see it almost, I saw, like we talked about with The Take, with a discussion of women.
Yeah.
Annie and Melanie being in competition with each other and it ending in bloodshed.
and almost Lydia feeling in competition with them too.
Exactly.
Like they're
So
that's
it's
what I'm
a
saying.
lot.
These like this weirdly specific story and situation. I don't think that that's just on accident.
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
And they even said the title on the take. They said the birds could be the slang.
Yeah, women.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
right.
It's like it's a
So,
lot to
it
dissect
is.
and think about.
And I don't think that it was meant to be just a straightforward these birds are mad movie.
Yeah.
Like I think there is something more in there.
But I guess that leads us to ratings. I really enjoy this film. On the positive side, I love the dialogue. I love the meticulous direction. Not that scene.
I was gonna say maybe too meticulous at sometimes.
Yeah. I think knowing what you want in a shot is fantastic, but actors are people.
Yeah, let's not forget.
But the effects for the time are incredible. The performances from the cast, fantastic.
Yeah,
The chemistry of the cast at the same time.
true.
I think the biggest success that this film has is making something mundane scary.
And it does.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, man, when a bird landed on my car at HEB this morning,
Like I guess I just live at HEB.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that brings me to my negatives. Something about the pacing. It feels long.
It's off for sure.
I can't put my finger on it, but there's just something about it. And also a negative is the meticulous direction.
Yeah.
That scene, as incredible as it is to watch,
Right.
knowing the story behind it is very upsetting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And knowing the story of Hitchcock and Hedren later on,
Yes.
it's upsetting.
Yeah.
And shout out to her. She's still alive.
Yeah.
She turned 91 in January.
Damn.
Nice.
That's a bad bitch. I don't
Yeah.
know what else to say.
She could be listening right now.
Hey, Tippy.
We love you, Tippy. Can you introduce me to Dakota Johnson? But on a scale of 1 to 10 pecked out eyes, I am going to give the birds 8 out of 10 pecked out eyes. I was really caught on a 7.5 the entire time, but I have had way too much fucking fun talking about this movie.
Been a lot of fun.
It may have clouded my actual rating,
Yeah.
but to me, this movie just became an 8. But I will now open the floor to you.
So the problem I had with this movie, like it was the same thing, was the pacing. But I took this movie, and your sister didn't agree with me, but I knew she wouldn't. My thing is, I took it like the environmental way.
Okay.
So to me, this is just the OG Happening movie.
Listen.
So I was like, what? I was like, this is just a Happening. I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
Listen, I did agree with you because I had the same thought when I was watching
okay.
it that M. Night was definitely inspired.
Yes, you did say that.
Well, but
you did say that.
M. Night has always cited Hitchcock
See, I didn't
Well,
know
no,
that.
as an
Okay,
influence,
yeah.
not for The Happening, but in general of his film
Yeah.
career.
Well,
all right.
Yeah.
I like M. Night. I ride hard for M. Night.
Yeah.
I get made fun of for it.
Well, let me just say time out
but
because
the happening, I can't ride. This is my
Hey.
stop, M. Night.
look, the Happening is when I realized that we might have some worries, but
Yeah.
people don't give him his due for making 3 almost perfect films.
They don't, and
Yeah,
that's why.
no.
Okay, and we've already talked about. I like The Village. Maybe it was just on Talk Mortem, but I even ride for The Village, and
Well,
it got real quiet. But I do agree that
it's
I feel like Hitchcock executed it,
no, yeah.
and I think
definitely.
M. Night did not.
Yeah.
No, I will.
And
I would agree
Hitchcock
with that.
also didn't have Tippi Hedren going, "What? No,
No, he was just tying
you
birds to
gotta
people.
believe in
Yeah.
science." Well, you know,
And telling that kid his face was perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was weird.
It's down to the execution, but
But-
I do think that
No, you're right.
I do think it's very similar.
You guys like hot dogs, don't you? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
What is happening?
But we're going off the rails. I'm sorry. Go
But
ahead.
no, yeah, I did enjoy this movie, but it was a little long, and it did a lot of. Some of the scenes were like when she's looking at the fire. I'm like, we didn't need to do all.
It was a little funny.
but it needed
the-
more Tipper.
Yeah, I guess. All right, Alfred.
Yeah.
The teacher didn't need to die.
No.
No,
she was the
agreed.
best part.
Mhm.
She didn't need to die. And this being the first Hitchcock film I've ever seen,
Mhm.
it wasn't bad. You know what I mean? I do want to watch Psycho, and I'm sure we'll cover it at some point.
We need to.
But for me, on a scale from 1 to 10, pecked out eyes, I'm gonna give The Birds 7 pecked out eyes. I gave it another half a point for how much fun we had here.
Yeah.
And we did.
And so I can't even try to, front on that. We did have a lot of fun talking about it, because I was going to give it a 6.5 because it is good. I understand why it's a classic, and like you said, and respect to that, but it's not my pace of movie, you know? But we had a lot of fun. So I give it a whole half-ass point for that.
We did have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to apologize for our Hitchcock.
I think
impressions that
it's
just
important to
slowly
apologize for them.
just slowly devolved. And I do think I need to take a class on birds because I don't know how they work.
Hey, at least you knew what a titmouse was.
I did know what a titmouse was. I don't think that I really need to go through. I agree with everything that you guys said.
Yeah.
I think a big issue is the pacing for me, and kind of knowing how the sausage was made in regards to his treatment of Tippi Hedren, because it is disgusting.
Right.
But this is a really great film, and I can see why it's kind of stood the test of time. I'll be honest, we put up this kind of animals attack themed poll on the Patreon, and I was not expecting this film to win.
Yeah.
No, and it ran away with it. Flew away with it.
Flew away with it. By a lot. Like, it wasn't even close. And I'm glad it did, because did we have more fun than I expected us to have? I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, not to rehash everything. I'm gonna go straight in the middle. And on a scale from 1 to 10, pecked out eyes, I'm gonna give The Birds a 7.5. It's not a perfect film, but I will say that I can't help but appreciate the filmmaking.
Right.
And the performances. I mean, I know I said I wasn't going to rehash everything, and here I am rehashing it, but it's just a great film. If you've never seen it, or if you haven't seen it in a while, I would definitely recommend revisiting it, because and then hang out with us and talk about it. That might have been the best part for me.
Well, that's all from us at Pod Mortem. What would you rate The Birds, and what should we watch next? Let us know on Twitter at the Pod Mortem. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook. Be sure to follow each of us on Twitter at TravisMWH, at Blood and Smoke, and at RealStreeter84. Please consider pledging to our Patreon, and stay tuned until after the music for a special thank you to our Wendigo Getter patrons. And remember, danger can lurk where you least suspect it. A lack of awareness is for the birds. Until next time. Thank you for staying tuned. We want to give a very special thank you to all of our Wendigo Getter patrons.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for flocking with us.
Special thank you to Chris Ontiveros, Kristen Lofton, Megan Martinez, Kimberly Bass, Melanie Van Houston, Sophie Hodson, Anthony Jerome M., Jordan Nash, Kent and Allison O'Morton, Guy54, Lala Thomas, Travis and Nisa Hunter, Miguel Myers ATX, Mandy, Jennifer Perez, Pierre Lombard, Carissa, TJ Bronson, Gabrielle Trevino, Spooky Mom, Andy Teague, Applin Ontiveros, Karima Rhodes, Antonio Huerta, Kimberly Kleindienst, Will Brown, and Linda. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate every single one of you. You are all truly unbelievable.
That was terrible.
Needs more tipping. Until next time.